Welcome back, folks. We are here at round 3 of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship. Ryan Sage alongside Ryan Lantain. It has been an eventful competition, to say the least.
Somewhat surprising sometimes.
Starting off last night in qualifying, literally night. We were supposed to get qualifying done before the sun went down. We got kind of some emergency lights in place, but it was crazy out there. And not only that, is prior to that, the track conditions changed pretty dramatically, and all of this has been in light of the typhoon that has been wreaking havoc on us here and there at different bits of time throughout the weekend. We kicked things off yesterday with pretty warm and sunny conditions with some clouds that weren't really moving too much. We saw a little bit of rain here and there outside of competition. Most drivers received their practice in dry conditions. And then when we got into qualifying, things got pretty interesting as the temperatures changed. It got cooler and a lot more cloud coverage. We woke up this morning to wet conditions. It's been wet all day, heavy rain at times, and also heavy wind. And so what you're seeing now is all of the top 16 cars being paraded out for the top 16 opening ceremonies, doing something fairly unprecedented here. We've cut out the halftime break and moved right into the top 16 for the primary reason that the original top 16 airtime looks like it's going to be in the worst potential weather conditions. And the track here does have a 3/8 inch per hour rule that if it goes above that, they will shut down all cars on track, whether they're drift vehicles or racing vehicles. So we are kind of at the mercy of that potential rule. They also have some wind rules in place as well. Luckily, we haven't really gotten too deep into that. The wind has been sustained, up around 20 miles per hour or so. But for the most part, it has been a really exciting competition, and a big part of that has been because we saw a big mix-up in qualifying last night that led to some very critical top 32 battles in which we saw some big names go out early. Namely, we saw Andrew Gray defeated, and we saw a lot of drivers like Jin Harino and Kazuhiro Yueo. Kanta Yanaguida battled, and Yanaguida bowed out. He was our number 5th qualifier, so there's been some mix-ups that will definitely have an impact on the championship chase.
Yeah, I think the championship chase is going to be severely impacted by this round, mainly because of Andrew Gray going out so early in competition. He went out in top 32, which means that essentially he's going to get qualifying points, and he didn't qualify so well. He qualified 18th position, so he's going to take a massive hit there. And like I said earlier, he was our 3-time champion. Not last year's champion, but 3 prior years to that he had been champion, and so he's getting knocked out very, very early in competition. Like you said, Kanta Yanaguida, 5th place qualifier, also got knocked out. Now we've got Tamagawa, who finished qualified 4th, who made it through to the top 16. And he's somebody that we had seen some good things from last season. We haven't seen too much from him this season yet, but we may see some stuff from him today. Shang, who is pretty high in the standings right now as well. He qualified 9th, and he went through to top 16. Now Yueo, somebody who did get on the podium in, I believe it was Ebisu, if I'm not mistaken. He just got through despite a terrible qualifying session from him yesterday, qualifying 28th. He made it through the top 16. So we've got some interesting drivers that'll be definitely here to try to get to the top of the podium, and will definitely mix things up.
So we are now doing the traditional top 16 opening ceremonies where the Japanese commentators Manabu Arito and Yuichi Imamura, 2 famous drivers here in Japan going back a long, long way, as well as our main host Tom Saiba, will walk us through the pairings in the top 16. But as Ryan mentioned, this has become a very interesting event for a number of reasons. Nothing less than the championship being shaken up is one of the primary, but also just how the drivers have been dealing with the variable conditions in the weather. So we will start the top 16 introduction shortly, have the Japanese national anthem, and then we will get this show underway. Welcome back here live to Fuji Speedway for round 3 of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship. best 16, as they call it here, top 16 for us. We've whittled it down. Our first battle up here is going to be our number 1 qualifier, Wataru Matsuyama, taking on Yoshia Isaki, our 16th place qualifier. It's been pretty consistent, Ryan, with these wet conditions coming down at intermittent times, but hard and sometimes gone altogether. But nonetheless, the track conditions have stayed relatively the same. We've seen one little stint of sun come out for a few minutes where it got really steamy on track and up here in the box, but for the most part, and it looks to be this way continuing through the entirety of the top 16 unless something dramatic changes. This is what it's going to be.
Yep, looks like the rain is coming and going. Right now it's moderate rain. It was raining very hard just a minute ago, so it's very inconsistent on the track. Yeah, it's wet, but varying levels of water on the track. When it starts to pour, I know this is a very high-tech track. It does kind of shed water very well, but it still makes it more difficult. There is going to be a little bit more standing water on the track during those heavier times, and it can catch drivers off guard because this track is a fairly long track for us in Formula Drift Japan anyway, in that it can be raining at the start line and not be raining halfway through the track. And then a little bit drier near the end, so the grip levels change significantly from the beginning to the end. There are a couple of different areas here where we have elevation changes, so you've got some uphill area and then a downhill area. Actually, it's down, up, down, so you can get some areas where the water is kind of running down the track. If it's really heavy, it can really catch the drivers off guard. So it's challenging today because of the varying levels of precipitation and the wind and everything that's coming through. So these drivers have their jobs cut out for them today.
First battle in the top 16, looking for an opportunity to seize the overall points lead. Matsuyama getting a good start here. Early initiation, there's those 3-2-1 standing cones. Isaki closing the door as it is threaded nicely by Matsuyama out front. Notice the fluidity. He's able to get out to outside zone 2 very well. A little bit deep on that inside clip, and that allows Isaki to come up on the inside, keep the pressure on, and the 16th place qualifier looking pretty good in the chase position. So great way to start off the top 16 here, Ryan, as we take a look at this run one more time.
Looking at how these drivers are differing in the different conditions, so dry to wet, it's very impressive to see when somebody does maybe a mid-pack qualifying, but when it comes to competition in the wet, they're actually doing better than the higher placed qualifier. And you can see here that Isaki is putting on a lot of pressure on Matsuyama as they come through outside zone 1 to 2. Matsuyama's not doing a bad job in the lead. He just off that inside clip a little bit, but you can see Isaki right there with him, not being phased at all by the weather and really being able to put on some pressure on Matsuyama. Matsuyama is one that he's very capable in the lead position of being very stable. You can see that once the angle is set, the car looks very settled. He looks very calm behind the wheel. There are no corrections being made. Look at those front wheels. They're just perfectly set at angle. The car, very little motion in it. But look at Isaki as well. He's not quite filling the zones as well in the chase, so he's cheating a little bit to maintain that proximity, but he's making it look really good, not making any corrections himself either. So in that first run, we saw some very smooth driving by both drivers, some opportunities for both drivers as they swap positions now. So Isaki needs to do a better job at that inside clip 1. He does have to do as well as Matsuyama, so fill outside zone 1, outside zone 2, and 3. In the chase position, Matsuyama's got to stay very close, and he could do better mimicking Isaki's line, so he could fill those zones just as well as Isaki to gain an advantage in the chase position.
Trying to beat the tough, bad weather coming through. Got rid of the halftime show to get the top 16 underway. 15-minute break for these drivers. Was it enough, or does it actually help them? And we get it started here. Both drivers sideways by that last standing cone. Isaki, he's not going to fill outside zone 1 as well. And an adjustment there by Matsuyama in the chase to make sure he doesn't make contact, but he does do a pretty good job at outside zone 2 and that inside clip. Here comes Matsuyama closing the door, and just towards the end he pulls off a little bit there. So we saw a couple little mistakes from Isaki in the lead on that first outside zone, Ryan, but take us through Your thoughts as a judge?
Great job by both drivers here. Isaki is really fulfilling the lead driver's goals to, I'd say, about 80%. You know, he's missing a couple little areas, but he's staying smooth. His angle isn't wavering. If you look at the car, it looks settled. Right there, he doesn't go out to outside zone 1 very wide. You can see Matsuyama mimicking very well, really showing his ability in the chase position to match what the lead driver's doing. And then looking at Isaki's lead through inside clip 1, a little bit better, I think, than Matsuyama's maybe through that area. But let's watch it from this different view to see what kind of changes we can see in both cars' angle and line as they come through each zone. So right there, Isaki was off of outside zone 1, so was Matsuyama. But Matsuyama did a much better job of mimicking the lead through outside zone number 2.
So pretty close here. We did see a couple mistakes, and does it lean in one direction or the other? Big opportunity here. 1 vote for Matsuyama, 2, and it is split decision with Brian Eggert joining us here for the first time in a couple of years as our other judge, Andy Yen, attends to a personal matter. We still have Ryan Lantain and Robbie Nishida as our judging panel here tonight. We're also joined alongside Manabu Orito, Yoichi Imamura, and our host on the Japanese side of things, Tom Saiba. We're also broadcasting in Japanese. If you'd like to check that out, go to formuladjp, and they've got a couple different streams going out. But we're going to be cranking through this, trying to beat the rain, trying to beat the storm. Our next battle up, Hokuto Matsuyama taking on Shang Nian. Remember, Shang is the defending winner at this round, and he has been very aggressive this weekend, sometimes for the good and sometimes not so good. And you can see he's already keeping the pressure on Matsuyama. Matsuyama floating it out, just getting to that white line of outside zone 1. Oh no, and Shang, he may have even made contact with Matsuyama there very briefly, but on the transition, a washout from Shang Nian. And we'll want to take a look at that again. It did seem like he did that on his own, but as the rain is coming down, the drivers have those wipers on full time. Ryan, let's walk through this one and take a look at that situation right near outside zone 2.
So in the chase position, you're seeing Shang Nian here put a lot of pressure on very, very early. He's right off the rear quarter of Matsuyama in the lead position, and on transition right here, he just grips up, unfortunately, and goes into a quick. We'll have to see that from the back to see if it was an opposite drift, but definitely a very large correction there from Nian. Now in the lead position, Matsuyama does a fairly good job of fulfilling the lead driver goals. So hopefully the camera stays on the rear of the vehicles here so we can see exactly how severe Shang Nian's correction was. But you can see him right off that rear corner looking at Matsuyama. He gets out to outside zone 1, and right here, Shang, yeah, he goes full opposite drift there, misses outside zone number 2. So that'll be an incomplete for Shang Nian. Unfortunately, just made a miscalculation on the transition, and it looked maybe like the car was very grippy, and they're definitely not going that fast right there because of the wet conditions, and maybe he just wasn't able to get the car to rotate properly, and it gripped up on him, and he had to essentially reinitiate to get the car back to angle.
All right, so at least from your perspective, Ryan Lantain, one of 3 judges, it looks like it's going to be an incomplete for Shang Nian on his chase run there. The Singaporean trying to back up his win here last year at Fuji Speedway, an emotional battle in the finals against his friend and teammate Andrew Gray. But right now, looking down the barrel of Matsuyama, who's going to chase him down. Shang blasts out of the gate. Matsuyama already goes sideways, has a second thought about it, leaves a little bit of room now. The spotters would definitely be helpful in this situation. Nian gets through that first outside zone and second outside zone very cleanly and smoothly. Matsuyama now closing up the rear end there. And no major mistakes, let alone an incomplete from Matsuyama. And that's going to be an easy one for anybody.
These are 2 very closely qualified drivers. 8th position from Matsuyama, 9th from Nian. That was in the dry. Now we get to the wet, and it looks like they're very evenly matched in the wet as well. Other than Nian's correction there, they're very evenly matched, it seems, on speed and on capabilities of getting through the course. You see Nian there right on the rumble strip, did a great job in the lead position. Matsuyama, perfect timing on his transition, didn't quite get wide on outside zone 2. Nian did pretty well through there, but Matsuyama keeping a safe distance while being in striking distance. So he really didn't get into the inactive chase situation there, but definitely put on enough pressure, and Nian's incomplete, I think, is going to be the nail in his coffin.
Well, we saw Andrew Gray go out in the top 32. His teammate Shang Nian out in the top 16. That eliminates 2 of the Power Vehicles cars that are competing here this weekend.
Benjamin Cham was the 3rd, and he went out in 32 as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Actually, and then Kazama went out.
Yeah.
So that's 4.
Correct.
All right, so tough weekend there for the Kazama Power Vehicles team, but let's move right along. I think we're going to come back after this battle to revisit the one more time. I mean, no.
No.
Okay, that's my old notes. We're going to go to Tamagawa and Ito. We've got 2 Matsuyamas competing against each other.
Matsuyama and a Masuyama. So it makes it confusing.
A T and a no T.
Correct.
So Tamagawa has been very exciting to watch in all aspects of competition this weekend. He had that great run. Both of his runs were really strong in qualifying. Was able to slot him right in that 4th position. And he made pretty quick work of Shoya Saito in his top 32 battle. Now he's got to get through Monkey Ito, our number 13 qualifier.
So far, Tamagawa's our only restart as well. So he had a little problem there in top 32, hit a cone, but let's see if he can make it cleanly through in top 16.
So the red light about to extinguish, and it's off. Half beat, and he's out of the gate. Tamagawa taking the lead against Ito. Blasting, he is gone. And Ito did not really get out of the gate at the same level, and this is not even going to be close. Much more than we've seen for an inactive chase, at least at the beginning. And it looks like it's continuing here. At least 10 to 12 car lengths separate them through the finish line. And it's not as if Tamagawa was cutting the course at all. He still did a really good job in the lead. So that was a uneven matchup there with Tamagawa and Ito.
Yeah, there was not much of a tandem to be had here at all. It looked like 2 independent runs. So in my eyes, that looks like an inactive chase. Not purposeful. I'm not saying that Ito did it on purpose, just not able to match the pace of Tamagawa in the lead position, who is putting the car in all the right places right now. He's looking pretty good up front, not trying to get away. A little bit off inside clip 1, but pretty great through the outside zones all the way through the finish there. So can't really say anything bad about what Tamagawa was doing up front, but unfortunately Ito is just nowhere to be found in the chase. So that'll be, from my perspective, an inactive chase for Ito.
So the tough part of the battle probably coming up next for Tamagawa, if indeed Ito is that much slower than the Supra, having to give a measured response here in his chase position, not do what we've seen some drivers do and staying super close to a slow vehicle, having to choke up and then incompleting. So he'll want to definitely avoid that.
Yeah, some heavy calculations come into play there, because you don't want to run into a situation where you're too far behind either. You want to be able to be within relative proximity while not being so close as to get choked up. But you don't want to stay way back and risk that driver getting away from you and then getting into an inactive chase situation that just happened to Ito. So you really have to play it safe, but also be within that striking distance that you have to maintain. So we'll see how Tamagawa is going to manage that right now.
Light has extinguished. Ito through the chicane. And here we go. Second half of the battle here, determining who goes on into the Great 8. Tamagawa already committing to angle, and that's going to be a restart.
You can see the light right there. Yeah.
So we'll find out what that was. Didn't look like he jumped the light, but he may have hit a cone coming out of the chicane.
We have to give these track workers a huge thanks today, not only working through this weather, but at every round they are on the ball. They are so consistent with throwing the red flags, getting restarts done, and keeping all the operations going at the start line. So they are a key factor in making these competitions work.
That was confirmed. It was a what they call pylon or cone touch by the lead driver Ito.
Pylon touchy.
Pylon touchy on the first run. So we'll do it again. And thankfully, one benefit of the wet conditions is no changing tires. So they'll have plenty. Oh, we did another one. Uh-oh, that's strike two.
That's strike two, Ryan. Woo, boy, this is stressful.
No, I don't.
Oh, that's why he Tamagawa stopped drifting and turned himself around. It wasn't a spin from him. It was a, oh, there's a red, there's a flashing light. I need to stop drifting.
Mm-hmm. So this is the first.
2 strikes, Ryan.
2 strikes.
Third strike equals an incomplete.
So it's worth talking about the history of the 3-strike rule and whether or not people have done that. The answer is yes.
Yes, they have.
It has happened.
Embarrassingly enough.
Yes, and it has happened mostly on the chicane cones, not jumping the light or anything like that. The chicane cones, I think within the past 4 years, right? When was the last time we were at, we won't name names, but.
Well, Ukuibuki had happened once.
Oh, yeah.
With
with the shark.
Masuda.
With the shark car.
Yeah, Masuda did it there. I think in Canada it happened maybe 4 years ago. Mark Longeville, I think, did it at Saint Eustache. Rest in peace, Saint Eustache. I think that track will be closing at the end of this year, and everybody's super sad about that. That was the track we used to go to with Formula Drift Canada and Formula Drift USA. And I think it happened in the U.S. once or twice too, didn't it? In the main championship.
The 2 that you mentioned are the 2 that I know more readily in my mind. It may have happened. I feel like those are the 2.
Yeah. At least those 2, and it's not something you want on your resume. It's a terrible way to lose.
The pressure of that 3rd strike isn't when you get the first one. It's when you get the second one.
Absolutely.
Right?
Now
so
you know.
We're going to be watching intently here.
Yeah, this guy. And I'm trying to remember. I think they were all cone hits in the previous 2. It's not like it was 2 cone hits and a jump to start or something like that.
No, I believe they both of those
hits.
that you mentioned were cone hits. Yeah. All right, so pressure is on here for Monkey Ito, our 13th place qualifier, into the top 16, taking on Tamagawa.
Keep an eye on those cones.
Oh, slowly this time. Makes it through, and Tamagawa actually gives him a little bit of a breathing room here. This may be a good move by him. And now he's starting to close the door. Not out to that first outside zone is Ito. Tamagawa overestimates a little bit. He ends up going to that zone, but needing to follow the lead car like a moving clipping point. However, with that incomplete, that section of the course where he toes up the end was strategized pretty awesomely there. And Ryan, I just got a little message from Trey Taylor who said, one in Canada was jumping the light, at least one of the strikes.
It was,
yeah.
okay.
So good info there. All right, walk us through this one.
Looking at what Ito did in the lead, looking back to, what is his name? Tamagawa, there we go. He is not really putting on the pressure that we hope to see here. Not really an inactive chase, but looking at what Ito's doing, he's not fulfilling the lead driver goals. He missed outside zone 1, was just outside the line there at outside zone 2, but missed inside clip 1 by a big margin, and then did not so bad, but not great angle through the finish line. Tamagawa did end up closing the gap by that point, but it took him longer than I anticipated there. It definitely won't be an incomplete from him, so he will probably get the win here, and it looks like all 3 of us did go that way.
All right, so the Tamagawa attack continues here in the top 16. He has not faltered that much and looked very strong throughout the weekend thus far, going back to qualifying and practice yesterday with some impressive runs. So he will move on into the Great 8. He's going to be facing the winner of these next two drivers here. Kazuhiro Yueo, who got through Kanta Yanaguida, and Jin Harino, who got through Ikuao Saito.
So this looks like some anime version of Batman's car. It's extremely exaggerated. I said yesterday when I saw it drive by, there were some grip cars out there. I don't know if it was, I guess it's just a lapping day. And there were some pretty extreme looking Lamborghini Super Trofeo cars. And then I saw this car come by, and I didn't realize that this was a drift car. I thought maybe it was one of the grip cars that was out there with all of its extreme aero. Because Yueo's car was red last round and did look nothing like this at all. So
well, I don't think he's trying to. I think he's trolling.
He's not. He's not serious with his attempts here.
I think he's kind of trolling a little bit.
He's doing a great job of it. But he caught me by surprise when I saw him pull up to the line. And they said, oh, that's Yueo. But he's definitely getting some attention with that car.
All right, so light has extinguished. And here we go. Jin Harino, number 12 qualifier this weekend. Yueo, number 28. This should be a good one. And Harino got a little bit late there to angle after the last standing cone. Yueo, that quick, fast, and really grippy car.
Ooh, he could go for the pass here.
He could pass here, yeah, definitely. And as he comes back off course, he's going to kind of cut the momentum, it looks like, for Yueo.
Yeah, Harino either has a problem Harino not looking good through the finish line there. He slowed down so significantly, I can't see how a chase car is supposed to follow that in that area. That's definitely not a decel area. As we see them initiate, it looks like Harino initiated and then maybe straightened up.
Yeah.
And then reinitiated
he
right
kept
there.
a little bit of angle in the car, but
in the chase position, Yueno is putting on the pressure. He is a wild man. He can put a lot of pressure when he feels like it. This area right here, Harino goes way wide. I was kind of expecting Yueo to go for the pass, and then Harino here just, I don't know what he's going so slow with 2 to 3 tires off the track, and Yueno just loses patience and drives by him. So in that situation, I can't personally put Yueo at fault because Harino went so significantly offline and then was crawling with 3 tires off the track through outside zone number 3. In that situation, it's very difficult to stay behind something like that. If I had been Yueo in that position, definitely I would have gone for that pass. It looked like Harino was going way off and doing it very slowly because of his tire drop there in outside zone 2. Getting on that rumble strip, of course, is a big risk when it's this wet, and right now it is pouring. So that rumble strip is probably pretty slick. Now where the outside zone 2 area is, there's rubber down. You can barely see some of the paint. But beyond that, where Harino was driving, there is no rubber. So there's no grip out there. You're driving on pure paint. And I'm sure that's what helped carry him way out and helped him miss inside clip 1. And at that point in time, he lost all momentum and was just crawling through outside zone 3.
Well, in these drivers' meetings, you guys attempt to be as comprehensive as possible, covering things that have happened in the past at this track and at other tracks and walking through some of the possibilities. And definitely there was some time spent last night talking about the area where a driver could pass, and it was on that inside clip. However, as you mentioned, Harino was going so slow, and when he cut back in, Yueo was right there. So I agree with you that that should go against Harino. So nonetheless, we're going to switch things up. We'll see what the other 2 judges think as well as we get to this result. But right now, Kazuhiro Yueo is going to take the lead out front, sweeping out to that outside zone, and nicely done. Does not get into the grass, which is a good thing, but right on that red and white painting of the rumble strip, and the rest of the course from outside zone 2, the inside clip, and the final outside zone. Nicely done there, and you can see going off course towards the end is Harino. This should be a relatively easy call for the judges here, Ryan, but walk us through this second half as we take a look at the lead and chase run.
You know, the more I look at that car that Yueo's driving, the more I feel like it's an extension of his personality, because he is a crazy man, and that car looks pretty wild. But he can put down some incredible runs. You can see the level of grip that he has in this car with the way he's able to slow it down in the rain. Watch how he comes to outside zone 1, gets the tire on the rumble strip, fully in control here, a little bobble there, but right here when he gets outside zone 2, look how much he's able to tighten the lineup perfectly in that decel zone, get the car to inside clip 1, and then get out to outside zone 3. I haven't seen another car do that so efficiently without making any corrections, or that car is extremely well set up, and he is a very skilled driver, able to extract every little bit of performance out of it no matter what the weather conditions.
Well, all 3 judges go unanimous to Kazuhiro Yueo, car number 15, continuing his 2019 surge in this championship chase here. He'll be moving on into the Grade 8, which is a good position to be given what's happened so far. So we will take a quick break now that we are halfway through the top 16. Come right back here and finish up the second half at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship here at Fuji Speedway.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる、止まる、止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Buritto.
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Ospo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Kenda。伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮、チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC。 モティ
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
Welcome back to the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship here live from a Wet and Wild Fuji Speedway. It's been an interesting event so far, Ryan. We've made our way halfway through the top 16, and the battle that we're about to see next, I imagine that anybody that's staying up late with us watching from North America is going to get a kick out of this one.
I'm looking forward to this one, Ryan.
Kazuya Iizuka, the 15th place qualifier, doesn't really speak to what we saw in his top 32 run with Andrew Gray, where he defeated him, I don't want to say handily, but pretty clearly.
Pretty clearly. And we've got Yamashita, who is a very successful driver in his own right. So this should be a fun battle.
Yeah, no question about it. And for Yamashita, he is well within the championship race right now. We've got a lot of shakeup happening after this event because of the critical battles that we've seen in the top 32. Yamashita is right now in 6th place. Iizuka just 2 places behind, but in front of him, Benjamin Chiam, he's out of competition. Andrew Gray, out of competition. Miyoshi, out of competition. So the top 10 probably are going to be shaken up quite a bit after this event. No question, the top 3. Here we go. Let's get this battle underway. This should be a good one. Koichi Yamashita, Kazuya Iizuka. Yamashita, the higher qualifier, out first. And same little tactic there. Iizuka staying close. He initiates early. I thought we were going to have a red flag there because it looked like Iizuka was holding up, but now he's lost a little bit of ground there to Yamashita, who came out with a strong strategy, and this is not what we saw against Andrew Gray. He's much further behind, and Ryan, could the early initiation and lack of grip actually hurt him there to where he couldn't catch up and gave too much ground to Yamashita?
Well, this is where a little bit of game playing can come into the competition. I'm not saying this is what happened, but hear me out. Let's say the chase car initiates early like that, and then the lead driver before initiation slows down a little bit. That chase driver then has to back off at angle and then try to catch back up. Not saying that's what happened there, but it's definitely possible. It looked like that early initiation definitely hurt Iizuka. That was not the move. He should have waited for Yamashita to do his thing before initiating, because you never know what that lead driver is going to do, what line they're going to take. Now you're already sideways trying to adapt to that lead driver before they're sideways, and it's not a good position to be in when you're in the chase. You shouldn't be trying to adapt at angle to somebody who's still basically in grip, if you want to call it that, in the lead position. So
yeah, it's definitely worth thinking about. Are you guys going to look at that again?
No, I mean this is before the initiation point, and I didn't see a slowdown from Yamashita,
okay.
But I think maybe that Iizuka got to angle too quick and perhaps got a little bit too close to him early on. You know, like he should have waited a little bit before attacking. He should have waited for Yamashita to at least be at angle before attacking him, not back before the 3 cone.
Well,
so that was a miscalculation perhaps on his part.
And we've seen that his car can hang with, arguably the quickest car in the championship right now with Andrew Gray. So
right.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head there that was.
Maybe he's a little overconfident from the win with Gray, perhaps.
Well, this is the opportunity to strike back here. He gets out. This time he waits a little bit to get the car to angle. Now he's got it. He's going to sweep out to this outside zone. Stays in it a bit long there. He's going to have to make his way back. Yamashita this time around starts to look for that attack, leaving outside zone 2. And very well calculated from Yamashita. Very well played right there overall. And Iizuka, after an amazing performance up to this point in competition, looks like he is going to potentially be knocked out.
Yeah, it looks like maybe Iizuka's perhaps a little bit lack of experience here is kind of hurting him. Yamashita is a veteran of the sport and has a lot of experience in many different situations, and it looks like he was more patient behind Iizuka. Great transition from Yamashita there. Did kind of miss outside zone 2, but in the lead position there, it looked like Iizuka was making a couple of errors of his own, and Yamashita just kind of mimicked him through the majority of the track, maybe missing outside zone 2 more than Iizuka did in that specific little area right there. But definitely Iizuka could have done a better job in the chase by leaving a little bit of room before Yamashita actually got to angle, and perhaps waiting for Yamashita to get to angle before he himself got to angle behind Yamashita, and it looks like that was something that hurt him in the chase position and could cost him this battle, and it looks like it did.
So all 3 judges go unanimously to Koichi Yamashita. A big win for him. Holds off the surging Kazuya Iizuka, who is most likely going to be a threat the remainder of the year, especially if we get to see that vehicle in the dry conditions at Okiabuki and Okayama. But for now, he's going to pack it up, and he'll be done with a top 16 defeat.
Don't let that flag touch the ground, people.
All right, so updating our bracket here, we move on to our next set of drivers. Remember, the driver on the right, Kazuhiro Kubo. This is actually going to be his first head-to-head matchup of the afternoon. He received a bye in the top 32 after Toshiharu Kazama went out of competition because of a crash in practice. He's going up against Tomoyuki Kitashiba, the 26th place qualifier. Light is off, here we go. Looks like a clean start. Kubo gets the car to angle early, and huge separation here. And this was noted in the top 32 battle that Kitashiba was struggling a bit in these really wet conditions here. And you can see Kubo, even with one less run of experience in the head-to-head matchups, is out to a pretty solid lead run that finds Kitashiba 10, maybe 15 cars behind by the time we get to the finish line.
That was not ideal from Kitashiba. Kubo did a pretty good job up front. Definitely wasn't due to Kubo trying to get away. It was on Kitashiba, and Kitashiba, like you said, made the same mistake against Imameda, but Imameda kind of knocked himself out. So looking at what Kubo's doing here, could have been slightly wider earlier there at outside zone 1. He got to the line but kind of late. Did a better job in outside zone 2. Was off a little bit on inside clip 1, but really had no pressure whatsoever from Kitashiba because he was so far back. That is one of the bigger gaps we've seen, I think, here in competition. That's easily 15 car lengths back. And let's look at it from a different perspective. Camera number 1 here will stay on them for the entirety of the run, so you'll be able to see just how far that Kubo was from outside zone 1, so you can see how late he got to it. Kitashiba did a better job, but essentially straightened right there and drove with very little to no angle through that section before outside zone 2. So many different aspects of poorness there from Kitashiba in the chase. Not only the massive gap that he was behind Kubo, but also very low angle and perhaps a straightening there at the transition, and also very low angle from outside zone 3 to the finish line.
All right, so perhaps the tough part or tougher part. Oh, there goes Kitashiba. So that should be an instantaneous competition timeout for leaving the return road to the hot pits. And might be a good time to take it, but nonetheless, the hard work for Kubo here is going to be potentially going up against a vehicle that has much less grip and speed in these conditions, apparently. So it is a confirmed competition timeout from Kitashiba, and we will most likely move Kubo off of the line unless we are aware that it's a quick and easy fix. We did see at least one driver complain about moisture and fogging up inside the vehicle of the windows, where they attempted to call a competition timeout but then simply wiped away the moisture with a rag. What was it?
It's exactly what you said, Ryan. He's got to wipe his windows because he can't see. Yeah, need some of that product on there to keep the moisture and the humidity off the windows. It's something you always struggle with. I don't know if some of these drivers remove the fans from their cars. I know I used to always keep mine in there and keep it on full blast, just trying to get some of that moisture away from the windows. But unless you keep your AC condenser, sometimes you're just blowing hot air and it doesn't really do much. So trying to put product on your windows can make a difference sometimes. It can help, but it's a very humid day, a lot of rain today. I'm sure it's hot as heck inside that car. So it's probably producing a lot of moisture, a lot of steam coming up onto those windows. So without visibility, doesn't matter how good your windshield wipers are, you just can't see. So it's hard to say that calling a competition timeout for that is worth it, but I suppose if you can't see, you can't compete, then what's the point of going out on the track? So might as well do the competition timeout, clean the windows, try to get them defogged, and then head back out.
5 minutes to 5 p.m. here, local Japan Standard Time. We're a few battles into the top 16. We've got Masuyama and Matsuyama in the grade 8 so far.
Wow, that's going to be confusing.
Tamagawa and Yueo, our second battle of the grade 8. Yamashita defeating Iizuka. He's in right now. And it looks like Kubo has a sizable advantage, at least on the lead run criteria, against Kitashiba, who has now appeared in the background, coming back up to the line after getting the fog or whatever was bothering him in the vehicle remedied. 2 battles left after this to fill the grade 8 bracket. Second half here of Tomoyuki Kitashiba and Kazuhiro Kubo up right now. And here we go. Clean start. Kubo staying back a little bit. He's going to get it to angle early, and now Kitashiba has got angle in his vehicle. Wet conditions, still in charge of pretty much everything out here. A big understeer by Kubo. Now if Kitashiba can hold it together, it's going to be 2 incompletes in the chase probably. It will be an evaluation of the lead runs, a comparison of the lead runs. We've already seen that once here today. But Ryan, as we go back over it again, if it is incomplete, it would be determined by who had the better of the lead runs. Let's take a look at it.
That turned quickly, Ryan. I didn't expect that to happen so fast, but you can see how quickly that car went from an oversteer to an understeer situation. As he comes around past the 1 cone, Kubo right here goes right to understeer, and then gets the car back to angle, but it's too little too late. He's already incompleted. In the lead position, doesn't look like Kitashiba's doing the best job up front. Missed a couple of points on the track, low angle in some areas, so not ideal from him. So let's watch from a different angle. As Kitashiba comes around and gets the car to angle fairly quickly, fairly early, goes by the 3, 2, 1 cones. Kubo is right there. Yeah, you can see there, goes to pretty darn straight. But Kitashiba in the lead, definitely not fulfilling the lead driver responsibilities very well. Kubo, on the other hand, when he was in the lead, I think did a much better job of fulfilling those lead driver goals.
All right, so second time in the top 32, top 16 head-to-head matchups, we've seen an evaluation, a comparison of the lead runs because of 2 incompletes in the chase. And it looks like it's going to go, even so, with the incompletes, to the better lead run and the win here to Kazuhiro Kubo, car number 58.
So I guess we have to explain why we implemented this rule, going to the chase runs instead of doing it one more time. Typically, maybe years ago, we would have said two
going to the lead runs instead.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 2 incompletes in both battles. It's a 1 more time automatically. But as we went through battles after battle after battle throughout the seasons, we realized that we're wasting those lead runs and going to 1 more time. We want 1 more times to be there to be used for really tight battles where we can't find a winner because the battle was so close, and no fans really want to watch repeated runs of poor runs. So in this situation, if we have those 2 poor chases, we can refer to the leads. They are the exact same thing we're comparing, lead to lead, so it's not outside the realm of being fair and being applicable. And I think that it makes the event smoother. It is still fair to the drivers, and it just gets the keeps the competition going.
Yeah, no question about it. And as we move on to the next battle, we'll talk more about that. But Fukada, our number 3 qualifier, going up against number 14, Shinji Minowa. This should be a good one. Kicks it sideways on a wide line. Minowa holds back for a second. Looks like he's looking for an area to attack here, but Fukada, great job. Minowa slides and has to adjust his line to get back on the same line with Fukada, who looks pretty consistent with his continuation from the 32 and his qualifying, closing the door there with a little bit of movement in the front wheels was Shinji Minowa, but nonetheless a good start here between both drivers.
Yeah, JZXs going against one another here. As they get to initiation, you can see that Minowa is on an inside line, which is totally fine. They haven't even initiated yet. Right there, they both get to angle. Minowa's following him pretty well. You can see that he gets out wide there, Fukada in the lead, but Shinji ends up staying on the rumble strip a little bit too long and perhaps getting off the grippier part onto the slippery paint, and it causes him to kind of extend his time on that outside zone to rumble strip, and doesn't get him to transition in the right position necessarily. Kind of puts him on a weird line, and he has to he's not mimicking Fukada at all in that situation. So you can see there, Minowa goes way long on that. Transitions very late, does a bit of a different line getting to outside zone 2, but from outside zone 2 matches the line and angle of Fukada around. So it's one error in that transitionary period from outside zone 1 to 2. So he has contained his error to one spot, and he remedied it quickly after. He didn't let that error kind of spill out into the rest of the run. So at least he did that pretty well and got back online and made no compromises from there on. It would have been very easy, I think, to stay on the inside from that point and miss outside zone 2, but Shinji made it over there and got back with him very quickly. So he fixed his mistake pretty quick.
And then we know how slick that paint can be, especially with no rubber down on that. I think he was a little bit further past it, right? In an area where we don't see a lot of rubber put down. Not that it matters in the wet conditions, but certainly no question he was able to remedy that mistake and not let it extend out. Now we're going to switch things up. Shinji Minowa goes to the lead, snaps it early. Fukada, here he comes. Let's see how they deal with outside zone 1. Shinji right up to the line there. Fukada a little bit inside on that outside zone, just a touch, and a little bit of a gap established here between Fukada and Minowa at the beginning of the third outside zone, but Fukada was able to close it up towards the end. So let's take a look at this again. A good overall close battle between these two veterans.
So Shinji gets off the line clean, and you can see Fukada coming up behind him, not letting him get away. Shinji gets initiated well before the 3-cone. And then Fukada's right there with him, matching his line, matching his angle. It looks like Shinji's a little bit late on outside zone 1, but does okay on outside zone 2. Fukada's right there with him. Shinji's kind of midline there on inside clip 1. Fukada falls back a little bit, but catches back up, kind of near the finish line and beyond it. But let's watch it from a different perspective. Camera 1 will stay on them through this whole kind of infield section here, if you want to call it that. Fukada does a good job of mimicking. You can see that, Fukada had a big straighten right there between outside zone 1 and 2 that wasn't as visible from the front camera. So that's an error that we hadn't seen as much, but it's much more visible from that back camera.
All right, so now we are seeing both runs come to a close. Judges putting in their results here, and we'll find out who's going to move on into the grade 8. A close battle between these two guys, and one is going to be coming to the end here unless we do have a one more time. It is all 3 judges thinking the same thing there. One more time battle, and it will be so. So for Fukada and Minowa, we'll throw that one out, and we will do it again after we finish up this next battle here, or start this next battle here between Tomohiro Miryama and Yusuke Kusaba, our next battle up. So Ryan, yeah, we're going back talking about, the usage of one more times, not wanting it to be a crutch for drivers making mistakes in both positions, right?
Yep.
I think we even have a rule implemented that for some of the sub-pro series, whether it's Pro 2 or other series that that we're running, that you guys can pick a winner even if there are 2 really, really poor runs. Where in the past it would be 2 incompletes or something like that and automatically be a one more time.
Right, yeah, we're trying to not drag out one battle that may have two runs that are really poor, and going to another one more time where we see a repetition of the same. So sometimes it's just two drivers together end up making a poor battle, and neither one of them can do well, and yet you put one of those drivers with another driver and they can do better. So that's what we're hoping for.
All right, last battle of the top 16. Yusuke Kusaba out in front of Tomohiro Miryama. Leaving that third, mistake by Miryama. He's going to drop a tire. He's going to angle up. He's going to spin out, go off course. All right, let's keep an eye on Kusaba. He's got to finish this run. He's got angle in the car. He looks so far so good. And as we pan away from him off to the side, you can see that he did finish the run over here from our perspective. So let's take a look at what happened here. It looks like it happened as he was coming up to outside zone 1, Ryan.
Looking how close he is at initiation here, which is, of course, way before actual initiation. He actually had a handbrake pull back there because he was so close. And you can see here he straightens up, throws more angle at the car, gets the tire on the rumble strip, then the grass, and then just keeps rotating, not able to stop that rotation to get the car to transition. Kusaba in the lead, does keep going, gets his car right on the rumble strip, and does maybe drop a tire there before the finish line, but nothing as serious as the spin and off-course adventure there by Miryama in the chase position.
Oh yeah, big straight in there.
Big straight in there. And then as he gets on that grass and rumble strip, because sometimes you'll get one tire on the rumble strip, but the tire that's still on the pavement will control the attitude of the car and it'll allow it to maintain grip. But in this position, what he did was put one tire on the grass and then the other tire was on the rumble strip. And then you've got both tires on a very slick surface, not able to maintain that angle, and then the car ends up over-rotating. Because the rears are on the slippery surface, the fronts are on a grippier surface, you just get that over-rotation that can't be controlled anymore, and you end up over-rotating like that, getting spun out, and luckily did not hit the wall. We have had one or two drivers hit the wall today in practice. You can see some of the tire marks there where they did go off. I believe Kazama was one of them, and it is an area that can damage cars pretty quickly and pretty easily. The grass is not very wide there. Not that the grass is going to stop you when it's raining like this, but there isn't a whole lot of runoff room there. It's on the driver's left, of course, you've got all that pavement. It's a huge, it's kind of like a sea of pavement there that you can grip much better on to brake the car, get it stopped, get it slowed down before making contact with any of those walls. But on the other side, you know, this track was not designed as a drift course. It's designed as a road racing course, and if you're going to go off road racing, you're going to go off wide coming around that first corner. So that's where the danger zone is for our drift drivers today.
All right, so we saw that big mistake from Miryama in his chase run. He will now go to the lead position. We had the one more time from Fukada and Minowa still underway to get our two remaining slots into the grade 8. So Miryama, he's going to have to push hard here. Put some pressure on Kusaba. He's doing the right thing so far. A big gap established. Don't want Kusaba to go inactive chase. He's getting a little bit closer now, but Miryama looks pretty good in the rain here in the lead position. Not too shabby. The front end almost looked like he wanted to wash out there from Kusaba, but now he's pouring on the pressure towards the end, and he may have done enough.
I think there was an incomplete from Kusaba in the chase on this one, so we might have to refer back to the leads. So keep an eye on Kusaba between outside zone 1 and outside zone 2. It looks like he straightened up on transition and had to reinitiate, but I'd like to see a replay on it to be certain of it. So let's look in the lead at Miryama. What he's doing, in the lead position isn't bad. He's not all the way out wide to outside zone 1, but check Kusaba right here. Boom, goes completely straight, reinitiates for outside zone 2. So it looks like it's going to be two incompletes in the chase positions, and we will once again have to refer back to the lead runs.
That's one of those reinitiations that we've seen that's right at the threshold, right? I mean, it's there. You can see it. It stops, and he reinitiates.
Yeah.
But it's not as extreme as obviously something that's more noticeable.
I think we're going to try to get the replay from run 1 because we do need to compare those lead runs.
Right.
And to do so, we do need to watch the first run again so that we can see how Kusaba did in the lead position. So in this rerun, we're not looking at Miryama at all. We know that he completed So he's going to do his little spin and 4 tires off in the grass. We just want to see exactly what Kusaba did. So Kusaba got out wide there at outside zone 1, maybe a little bit later, but did a great job at outside zone 2. You can see left it right. Pretty good job on inside clip 1, and check his angle as he goes over the finish line here. He's very consistent. May have dropped a tire there, but I think he did a much cleaner job in the lead position than Miryama did in his lead position. So we're going to have to see how the other drivers feel about, or the other judges feel about that as we get our votes in here with our little tablets. And here we go with the results.
So this is the 3rd case that we've seen today of drivers that have incompletes in the chase, and we have to go to a lead-to-lead comparison.
Yep.
And it's always the last driver to incomplete that has gotten the victory, right? And going back to the first lead run, if you could manage to take all that
into account.
Yeah. So interesting event there, and that finishes the last battle in the top 16, at least on paper. But we've got to go back to this one more time. Tadahiro Fukada taking on Shinji Minowa. It was a unanimous one more time call across the board.
Shinji Minowa in an extreme lightweighting attempt here, only has 1 windshield wiper. Don't mind me.
It's on the right hand. It's on the
literally
it's on the right hand side.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's find out who's moving on into the Grade 8. Fukada, the higher qualified driver, takes the lead. He breaks it early, pulls a little bit of angle out of the car. Shinji gets weird and does not initiate. So we are going to finish this run, obviously, because Fukada has to as the lead driver. However, what Shinji's doing right now is purely just an exercise, more or less in futility, because he has that incomplete in the chase position from, I would assume, not initiating at the right part of the course.
It looked like he tried to, and it didn't happen for him. So let's watch here as Fukada gets the angle very early. So does Shinji, but then it starts to understeer. You can see there he's now gripped up, straight, tries to reinitiate, and it just never pulls it back together. It's sloppy everywhere. Multiple straights through this run. So Shinji's clearly hindered by an incomplete, a 0 now in the chase position. Not ideal for him in his JZX90, and Fukada in his JZX100. Yeah, you can see there he got the car to angle, and then I don't know if it's a power delivery issue where the car wasn't able to maintain boost or something where the wheels wouldn't spin, because it looks like he's having multiple problems with that. So that may be a mechanical problem with the car, because it's definitely not like Shinji to be doing something like that in the lead or the chase position.
Yeah, good point on that. Unfortunately, he is going up against a driver that has had some strong levels of consistency this weekend with Tadahiro Fukada, the 3rd place qualifier. And now with Fukada in the chase position, he has the ability to control his own pace relative to Minowa's. So it's not as if Minowa is in a position where the best lead in the world is going to get him the one more time. It's really about needing that best lead run, but also Fukada would have to incomplete.
Exactly.
So it's a really, really tough position to be in.
And it's interesting to see that Shinji didn't call a competition timeout, so maybe it wasn't a mechanical error.
All right, here we go. Big snap by Minowa early, starting to fade off towards the left-hand side of the track. Fukada keeping it a little bit close, maybe for comfort there. He pulls angle out of the car past the last standing point, and he's going to do it again. He's coming up tight on this inside clip. Still has a little bit of angle in the wheels, but it's going to come down to that initiation point by Fukada. And I see some head drops up here in the judges' stand saying, how do you blow that?
Oh, come on.
Let's take a look at it again and see if Fukada actually did incomplete in his chase.
I'm going to hold on for that rear camera view from camera 1 just to really see how severe Fukada's error was, but let's look at it from our normal replay. So you can see here as they come around past the 1 cone, Fukada will go straight. Shinji gets out to outside zone 1, transitions for outside zone 2, misses it by a little bit, not too bad, nice and tight in inside clip 1, and good through to the finish line.
So now we're back to lead-to-lead comparisons, at least on your side of things.
I would love to see that rear camera view from camera 1, and here it is. Thank you for giving me this. So let's watch Fukada here. How severe is his straighten going to be? This is the best way to really see how bad it is. And oof, that was quick. Not as bad as Shinji's, but If you want to do, honest, yeah, he's way inside here trying to correct. Very sloppy from Fukada on the chase position as well.
Similar to Kusaba's, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the time frame.
Whew. Let me see what the other guys are thinking.
All right, so Judge is mulling this over. Obviously, this has been a crazy battle here. And we are seeing the lead.
You know what this means, Ryan?
Yes.
For looking at the other driver's lead run. We're trying to see who did a better job in the lead position.
So while Ryan is evaluating this, we'll walk you through it. It's a lead-to-lead comparison. Once again, same thing that we saw with Miryama and Kusaba is now happening with Fukada and Minowa. Ryan has confirmed the other two drivers are giving incompletes to both chase runs. So it becomes an evaluation, a comparison between the two leads. And you can see, once again, the struggling there from Shinji. But it's really about looking at the leads in as much detail as possible. This is to fill the last position in the Grade 8, so you could certainly see a case being made for one more time. So let's go to the judges. Score starting to come in here. And it is one more time. And Shinji Minowa squeaks it out with 2 votes to 1.
Clearly they thought that Minowa had the better lead run. Came down to the inner clip. That was a 10-point area in qualifying, so it came down to the inner clip. Shinji did a better job through inside clip 1, and I guess Robbie felt the same way about that. So that's Brian and Robbie's reasoning for going with Shinji Minowa.
All right, so we have filled the Grade 8. We will take a quick commercial break, come back here to the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship Round 3 at Fuji Speedway. And now we have 4 remaining spots to fill when we come back. Welcome back. We are live here at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship, Round 3 here at Fuji Speedway. You can see some of the lower clouds have kind of cleared out of the way. There's a little bit of sun trying to peek through here. And if you are just joining us, we're trying to get through this competition before the big storm comes in. It's been raining all morning, but we've gotten through the top 32, the top 16, and now we are into the Grade 8 in relatively safe but wet conditions. So now we will go to our first battle, left-hand side of the bracket in the Grade 8. Wataru Matsuyama, the #1 qualifier, taking on number 8, Hokuto Mats with the T, Suyama.
Matsuyama versus Matsuyama.
All right, so here we go. Matsuyama looks like he could be the man to beat this weekend, but Matsuyama has been looking pretty solid as well. Clean lead run here. Matsuyama is definitely employing that James Dean, Frederick Osbo, go out, lay a perfect clean lead run, let the chase driver do the work. And yet, Matsuyama still holding his ground there to Matsuyama. But again, his lead run, Matsuyama has been pretty much on point with very few mistakes that are noticeable or big.
Matsuyama in the lead is doing an excellent job of placing his car where he needs to. Matsuyama, on the other hand, is making some compromises in the chase. So he's not fulfilling the chase driver responsibilities fully. He got into outside zone 1 late, and look at outside zone 2. He misses it completely by about a car length. Inside clip 1, they both do pretty well through there. The only problem I saw from Matsuyama here is that he left outside zone 3 early and didn't really complete the course at driver's right entirely. But small mistake. And we'll see how Matsuyama does when he gets into the lead position he has to run a very high-level run in the lead, and Matsuyama in that S15 in the chase position now will need to match him move for move. Matsuyama did not really match Matsuyama move for move in his chase, so this is an area where the S15 driver, Matsuyama, has an opportunity to really shine in the chase position. He's already shined pretty well in the lead. We just need to get, he just needs to get that chase drive really strong, really secure, and that'll give him the win.
All right, so we're switching things up here, going counter course, similar to some of the other courses that we run out, not only here in Japan, but also back in the States like Long Beach. Drivers pre-grid in the background. And the staging area, burnout box, all right in one location. You can see in the background Kazuhiro Yueo off to the right-hand side of that gray box fan. He's going to be coming up next against Tamagawa. But let's get this second half of the battle underway. This time Matsuyama in the lead position, kicks it early, mid-line. Matsuyama's got a little bit of space. He's going to start closing it up into that first outside zone, just right at the edge there. And Matsuyama makes an adjustment as he starts to gain proximity, really keeping it close. But Matsuyama doing not too shabby of a job in the lead position. Somebody's banging off the rev limiter down there, and that was a solid run overall by both drivers, with some highlights there by Matsuyama, who had a good defensive move in the chase as he surged forward to not make contact, but still making it look clean.
So what I was saying earlier, Matsuyama needed to put together a very clean chase run. He needed to mimic the lead driver better than the chase driver mimicked him earlier, and I think he was successful with that. So Matsuyama in the lead does a good job on one, but hangs on it pretty long. But look at Matsuyama in the chase. Goes exactly where he's supposed to. He's on the perfect three-quarter line, positioning to the lead car. Right here, he's following him. It looked like Matsuyama in the lead was late getting into outside zone 3. Oh, I got to put in my vote. While in the when he was in the lead, he did fill it, he left it a little bit early. Matsuyama went into it a little bit late, so they both kind of traded errors there in that area.
And 2 votes will make it a win. 3 makes it unanimous. Wataru Matsuyama, the hype train continues for car 530, moving on into the final 4. And what that does for him is it guarantees him a podium position because he is our #1 qualifier. So he can get no less than 3rd place now. So congratulations to him for the win in the Great 8, making it into the final 4.
So we're coming up now with Tamagowan Yueo. Yueo is one of those guys that has kind of upset a couple of drivers so far. He was the 28th place qualifier. He knocked out the 5th place qualifier and then the 12th place qualifier, and he's still in the battles here. He's going into, this is grade 8 right now, and he's still in competition. He is one to watch. He's always crazy driver. He can place his car in areas that you wouldn't expect him to be able to do, and it's at speeds that you also wouldn't expect him to do. And he's very unpredictable. You never know when he can pull out an amazing chase run that will get him that win, and he's done so twice already, getting him to this point.
All points well taken on board there. And for the relative newcomer, meaning has not drifted with us this year, Tamagawa has certainly showed some and made some new fans with the high-level drifting that we've seen from him. Came out of the gate, got that #4 qualification, made quick, easy moves against Shoya Saito and then Ito, and now finds himself in the Great 8. So he'll be taking the lead, and as you mentioned, his compatriot Kazuhiro Yueo had a tough time in qualifying. Conditions for him were changing, and he, I believe, had an incomplete in his first run. Second run, he did get a score. Yeah, in his first run, he incompleted. Second run was a 79, so he got in just by the skin of his teeth. And right now, in the championship battle, Matsuyama and Yueo are the highest drivers left remaining, as we've got Andrew Gray and Hayato Miyoshi out of competition. Then we've got Yamashita, who was 6th in points, and Shinji Minowa, who's still remaining. So the 2 drivers that have been knocked out, Hayato Miyoshi and Andrew Gray, are no longer going to hold those positions, first and third place. We're definitely going to see things switch up. And right now, Matsuyama is the farthest in competition. Because of the closeness of points, it's likely that he is going to be taking the lead, at least in the short term here on paper.
I wonder when we're going to implement the burnout clock in Japan.
Yes, yes. For those of you that don't know what Ryan's talking about, we have a 30-second burnout time in the U.S. Helps us predict how long the events will take and keeps everybody honest, as tires are so important. And we have not implemented, that has not been something we brought over just yet, but I think it would make sense at some point. All right, Tamagawa and Yueo, here we go.
He touched that cone, but it looks like it was a clean start.
He's going to snap it early. Yueo's on the inside. He's waiting for that attack, and nope, they are going to call it.
Yeah.
So
they're stern but fair here in Japan.
Yep.
You just touched that cone. The man with the red flag. Look at him. Very stern man.
And he's not playing any games. He's been rained on all day long, so with no umbrella.
Yeah,
he does not care about making you happy right now.
He's not taking anybody's BS. You touch that cone, you're done. So that's one strike against Tamagawa. And hopefully we don't see a second and a third. He's an easy car to spot, at least, with that. It's not underglow. It looks like those shoes that you see kids running around the mall wearing. The glowing, the shining, blinking, whatever, soles on them.
Yeah, what are those called?
I have no idea. I don't know, Ryan. I don't have children. Brian, do you know what those shoes are called? You have a child? Oh, your child does not wear those. Never mind. Okay.
All right, nobody cool up here in the booth.
Yeah, apparently none of us are cool. We don't know what those blinking shoes are called, but that's what his car looks like. We saw somebody driving last night with that on their car, and it looked pretty impressive in the dark.
All right, let's get a clean one here, and it's going to be a clean start. Tamagawa blasting. Again, that early start. He's on that wide line. You can see Yueo sizing him up, looking for that opportunity. He wants to keep it close, but not so close that if Tamagawa goes off, he's going to also make a mistake. I think he's well regulated right now. His chase run, a little bit of surging there and attacking. Tamagawa coming through that inside clip. He's going to pull angle out right towards the end with the front wheels. Want to see that again. There was a lot going on there.
Yeah, there was.
Walk us through it, Ryan.
All right, you don't want to give Yueo an inch. This man is like a great white. If he smells a little bit of blood in the water, he is going to eat you alive. And you can see here with that car getting tight on the inside, not giving him an inch before initiation even. So you can see him coming up close here. It looks like Tamagawa goes a little bit long on that rumble strip. Transition is very poor from outside zone 1 to 2. And then you see Yueo coming nicely on the inside, following the line pretty well, although not being super close. Now let's look at Tamagawa here. Yeah, he's got a lot of corrections right before the finish line. Doesn't go quite fully straight, but definitely some errors in the lead position from him. Now we're going to get Yueo in the lead, and Tamagawa better be on his game to keep up with Yueo. That car is doing things today that, you know, somebody joked on the live stream earlier that it's all the downforce created by that crazy body kit of his that is allowing him to do some impressive moves, let's say, in these wet conditions. So Tamagawa is going to have to be right on the ball chasing him. I'm excited to see how this is going to go.
Well, the deeper we get into competition, the likelihood we will see more craziness. That is pretty much more or less a historical fact for Formula Drift. And as they line things up, Yueo certainly has a great opportunity here.
What do you think that body kit's for, Ryan? Like, what car was that produced for in the first place? Or did he make that himself?
I told you, it's for trolling.
Yeah, but did he make it himself, or did he buy it from somebody? I don't know. Anyway, here we go.
Let's find out after the event. All right, here we go. Yueo. Looked like Tamagawa had a little bit of a hold up there, waiting for Yueo to come out of the line. And there's a big separation here. You talked about the speed of Yueo. Let's watch the line from Yueo. Not bad, a little bit long into that first. On the second, he's on the white line, tight on the inside clip. And you don't want to say it, but it seems like he's making easy work here in the lead position. And a big mistake with some going off of the last part allowable on the rumble strips there on that third outside zone, and the front end kind of wavering around from Tamagawa.
Let's watch what Yueo's doing in the lead, because he made, I think, the same mistake as Tamagawa right at the finish line where he pulled out some angle. But let's start where they begin. So right here, as he gets to angle, gets the car out to outside zone 1. Good job there. Might have been long on that zone. Transitions pretty well, and there's that amazing slowdown from him again in outside zone 2. Really well done there. Looking at the lead and the chase in this position. So Tamagawa maybe 2 off. It looks like Yueo pulled a little bit of angle out at the end, but Tamagawa was not a threat in the chase position at all, and I believe that Yueo might walk away with this one because of that.
All right, so that implies that Ryan is going for Yueo, so let's see how the final results come down. I think you might be right, Ryan, given the tendencies that we've seen so far and where certain runs have been more or less justified for one more time. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. It's a unanimous call for Kazuhiro Yueo. He's into the Final 4.
28th qualifier in the Final 4.
So yeah, he will need to win his battle against Matsuyama to have a chance at the podium. It's first or nothing for him because Kusaba, Minowa, Kubo, and Yamashita are all qualified much higher than him. So you see the importance of qualifying coming into play there.
Was Kubo a movie, Ryan? Was that an animated movie, Kubo? Is that the one with the guitar? Pixar movie?
I'm not sure. The only Kubo I know is Lisa Kubo, the drag racer.
Ah, okay.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. So Yamashita, 2nd place qualifier. Kubo, 10th place. This is only Kubo's 2nd battle, right? Because he got through on a bye run in 36. 32, I mean, what am I talking about? I combined 32 and 16 there. Top 32, he had a bye run. And now we're going into the grade 8 with Yamashita up against him. Yamashita's leading first, so he gets to set the pace here. We'll see if Kubo can keep up.
The red light very bright here with the cloud cover as Yamashita exits the chicane. Clean start. This is going to be a tough battle for Kubo. He's going to get going sideways early. Yamashita is blasting away from him, heading up into that first outside zone. Nicely done there, maybe extended a little bit long in there, but it is still very slippery. Uh-oh, Kubo in the chase position. He's gonna angle up, incomplete. Let's keep an eye on Yamashita. And he finishes the course, so it's an incomplete for Kubo. And it started on that transition, leaving outside zone 2, Ryan. And we've seen a couple mistakes there that have really played a role in the overall result, and that may be one of them here in this battle.
In the rain, it's really hard to throw a really big transition from zone 1 to zone 2. And I was watching Yamashita's transition here. It's not the quickest. It might be a little bit slow even for the rain. And then I thought, what is the chase driver going to do? And then he does that. So he overdid it while Yamashita may have underdid it a little bit. But that incomplete from Kubo is going to hurt him a lot. Yamashita's a very, he can really repeat his runs over and over again. He's very highly adaptable, so he's consistent, but he's also able to adapt quickly to whatever the other driver's doing. So giving him that type of advantage going into the next run of the battle is not a great idea. I'm sure Kubo didn't do it on purpose, but I think it's gonna be very difficult for him to overcome this. And there we have Yamashita's fan club up on the hill over there by the restaurant. Beautiful, beautiful banners there.
Doing a great job getting some additional broadcast time with those beautiful looking banners, and the support always nice. And you can see some of the reflection off of the paint of Yamashita is a little bit of clearing of the clouds, at least right, it looks right above or in the general vicinity of the first outside zone, though it is much further away. But the rain has slowed down quite a bit. There is still quite a bit of wetness on the track, but we are seeing a little bit of the lower clouds kind of dissipate here and some of the contrast coming back. Here we go, Kubo, incomplete on the chase run. Very early start for him. And notice Yamashita gives him a little bit of space here, playing it well. He does not want to run into him. He wants to attack at the right time. One tire off, and Kubo gets out of whack there. Short on that second outside zone. and very long on that inside clip, which gives that driver ability to attack. He'll pull off a little bit, but he does it in an aggressive manner. And with everything else in play, you got to imagine it's going to go to the number 2 qualifier, Yamashita.
This is that great adaptability I was talking about from Yamashita. That was a pretty sloppy lead run from Kubo. Didn't do exactly what he was supposed to up there in the lead position, but Yamashita just stayed calm, did what he was supposed to do in the chase. You can see there, Kubo's way long on outside zone 1. Tries to get transitions for 2, but he misses out inside 1, and then completely straightens up here. But Yamashita stays at angle despite Kubo being straight ahead of him through outside zone 3, and then completes the course with angle. So I can't see why Yamashita would lose this one after that great chase run and a decent lead as well.
Let's make it official. Koichi Yamashita is going to get all 3 judges going in his direction. BERL and RN. Brian Eggert, Ryan Lantane, Robbie Nishida serving as our judges here. And Ryan on the commentary with me, giving us insight to his work as a judge. And Brian Eggert stepping in from the U.S. to replace our other regular FD Japan judge, Andy Yen, who is out on some personal business. So, final battle of the Grade 8. Shinji Minowa.
Minowa needs to clean it up. He was lucky to get through that last battle.
And same thing for Yusuke Kusaba.
Yeah.
Got through on the better of the leads, but had an incomplete in his chase. So we saw a lot of that. We also saw that in Fukada and Minowa. Thank you all for watching, wherever you may be. Might be somewhat regular, less insanity if you're watching in Europe somewhere. I've seen a few fans chime in from different places, but if you're on the West Coast, the East Coast, well, Friday night on the West Coast, you're up late, but hey, that's kind of cool. You're watching Formula D. But 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we appreciate it.
Oh, people are saying LA Gear is the name of those shoes.
All right, here we go. Final battle in the Grade 8. As thinking about shiny shoes, a shiny trophy would be great after this for one of these drivers. But it's carbon fiber they're looking for, as now Kusaba shoots out to that second outside zone. Minowa is about a car length back. Both of them lead that inside clip. Uh-oh, big angle there from Minowa. And I want to know how you guys look at that. Is that off course, or are the cones just the marker for the finish line itself?
Well, Ryan, looking at Kusaba's lead here, the car does not look settled. The driver does not look confident. It looks like he's making a lot of corrections on angle. The car doesn't look like it's maintained. See right there, all those wobbles and bobbles. In the chase position, Shinji is very solid. He's set, and he's following Kusaba where he's going, except right here. Now, he does go 2 tires off. The front tire does look like it remains on the rumble strip. So that'll be a deduction for him near the end of the, a mental deduction for him near the end of the run.
So define the line at that area of the course. Are we talking about the white line that is in front of the rumble strips?
Well, that's the minimum, right? So that's where they need to be at a minimum. We gave them the rumble strip as kind of an extra little area. It's kind of like what we do in the U.S. when it rains. Atlanta's a good example of that this season. We told the drivers, get your tire on the edge of the pavement. If you want to go on the rumble strip, go for it. It's going to be slippery because it's wet, but if you feel like you can get on there and use that to your advantage, go ahead.
So 4 tires off in that area is the same as outside zone 1, where you can have 2 tires on the rumble strips, 2 tires on the grass. That's a deduction.
Exactly.
3 tires on the grass, that's an incomplete. 4 tires on the grass, that's an incomplete.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so there he ended up 2 tires off, essentially, big angle. But what I was looking at more was Kusaba's errors in the lead, because he is setting the pace. He's the guy that's supposed to be up there being solid and fulfilling the lead driver's responsibilities, and he wasn't in that case doing that very well. A lot of corrections, long on 1, late on 2, and you could watch Shinji just follow him where he's not supposed to be going, but Shinji's following him anyway, right? He was not super close, but within enough proximity that, car length away, let's say. And I think he did a pretty good job of adapting to what Kusaba was doing. And, you know, Kusaba went wide on 2. He went long. Inside clip 1. He managed to just barely stay on outside zone 3, and that's the area that Shinji did go over a little bit. So now Shinji has to be that really solid, really well in control driver in the lead position to outdo what Kusaba did in the lead. Kusaba's got to be really close. He's got to mimic. He's got to maintain that proximity. And I think Shinji here has an opportunity to pull away from, you know, not physically pull away, but pull away from him in terms of successes on the track and in the lead position. So if he fills zone 1, he fills zone 2, he gets to inside clip 1, and we've seen him do really well with that when he's in the lead position. He's just been making a lot of errors in the chase. So hopefully he can hold it together in the lead here to give himself that win.
All right, so we've got the first run well understood, well explained. This is the final part of the battle for the final position in the Grade 8.
Shinji's waving at the start line guy. I don't know what the problem is, but he's frantically got his hand out the window. So we're going to see what's up with him, but we're not in a hurry anyway because the track is being currently rebuilt at the moment in that beautiful Chevrolet Trailblazer that's out there.
So that gives you a good eye on the rumble strip towards the finish line where those 2 yellow cones are standing. And panning out here, seeing the inside clip, the second outside zone, and back up to the start line to get the second half underway. All right, here we go. Looks like the comms are going through.
Our soaking wet start line guy.
Yeah, more waiting, more suffering.
Doesn't look like it's raining right now, at least.
I don't want to ask what the holdup is because I feel like it's going to happen at any moment, but
yeah. Okay, the cars are off the track now. Going to get the start line going, start light going.
And we're off. Hey man, here we go. Shinji Minowa in the lead. Kusaba, both drivers been getting away with a few mistakes, and he better be sideways. That's what I was talking to you guys about at the break. Very interesting there from Kusaba. Minowa does not get all the way out to that white line at the right time. He goes into that second outside zone a little bit late, but still a pretty clean lead run here overall. Kusaba trying to close the door. He's down to a car length, down to almost half a car length there, right towards the finish line.
But on a tighter line, Ryan.
On a tighter line, so let's take a look at this again and see if we can find out who edged the other driver out of that position in the Grade 8 to the Final 4.
Looking at Shinji Minowa's lead, you can see here he gets the angle really well. It looks like Kusaba over-rotated before the 1 cone even and had to pull angle out and get back to angle again. It looked like Shinji did get to the white line, but a little bit late on outside zone 2 as well. Nice and tight on inside clip 1, and he did a really good job here on outside zone 3. You can see him getting out to that white line by about mid-zone, I'd say. And then in the chase, Kusaba was not close, but did take a tighter line there, not going all the way out before getting himself out to the outside of that area before the finish line.
I'm not seeing the advantage that some of these drivers are doing with that really early entry in the chase.
No, I don't understand it personally. I think it can hurt them from time to time as well, doing that, as we talked about earlier.
All right, so it looks like scores are starting to come in here from all 3 judges. It was a close battle, but perhaps somebody has the edge here. Here it is. One more time for Brian Eggert, and it is going to be a one more time, and Robbie Nishida gives it to Yusuke Kusaba. So he was able to get just the edge there from Robbie Nishida, so we understand at least how some of the errors are being factored in and how the weighting is going on. But it was 2 one more times, one from Ryan Lantain, one from Brian Eggert, that is going to push us into a repeat of this battle pretty much immediately because we are at the end of the Final 4. And yep, that was expected. Got the signal for a commercial break. We're here. G-Shock presents Formula Drift Japan Championship, round 3 at Fuji Speedway. will take this break, come back, and knock out the one more time between Shinji Minowa and Yusuke Kusaba. All right, we are back here at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan, round 3, Fuji Speedway. If you're logged on and watching, you know where you are, and we are in the final battle of the Great 8, last position for the Final 4. It's a one more time between Shinji Minowa and Yusuke Kusaba. So right now, to catch you up, we've got Matsuyama, our #1 qualifier, going up against Yueo, 28th qualifier in the left-hand side of the bracket. The right-hand side of the bracket for the Final 4 finds Koichi Yamashita, #2 qualifier. So this is relevant for the 3rd place. And he's going to be facing the winner of this battle. So here it is, the one more time. Light extinguishes. Let's get her done. Here we go. Yusuke in the lead. He's going to get that early initiation. There's the 3rd standing code, the 2nd, the 1st. Both drivers now at angle. Uh-oh, bit of a front end washout there from Shinji in the chase. Now he's pushing, and he's going to push wide. He's going to pull angle out of the car. Yusuke goes a little bit long on his inside clip. And Shinji right towards the end has to pull out of it. But there was at least 2 sizable mistakes that I could see from Shinji in the chase, a lack of angle or reduction of angle before the inside clip and leaving outside zone 2. So Ryan, I'll pass it over to you. Tell us what you saw.
Yeah, I want to see this view all the way through. Hopefully they give it to us later, but Shinji definitely had an error right there. You could see angle coming out, kind of blocked by Kusaba. Kusaba here as he transitions a little bit late, and Shinji even later. Shinji washes out there, misses inside clip 1. Shinji manages to stay on the rumble strip. Kusaba looks like he goes 2 tires off and maybe straightens up a bit to miss those cones. Not ideal from either driver. And it looks like we're not going to get that beautiful replay from camera 1 that's so helpful. Let me ask for it maybe.
Yeah, I think you have to ask. It's not going to be automatic. All right, so cars heading back to the staging area, back to the start line. As Ryan mentioned, not the prettiest. As
shout out to Jared Deanda.
One infamous man has said a time or two.
Yes.
But neither incompleted, so we should be able to get a winner out of this potentially.
Here's the view I was looking for. Hopefully we stay on camera 1 all the way around. We'll see just how severe that straighten was from Shinji Minowa in the chase position. Oh, it was actually just a little bit of a bobble, so it looked worse from the front than it actually was. So good that we got that view, but Shinji still had his washout there and laid on 2, so that helps us a lot. Arigato boku for that. Can write some languages for you there, Ryan.
Very good. You did like a Japanese French.
I did, yeah. They love French here. It's everywhere on their cookies and everything. Here we go.
Second half of the battle here. Let's see if we can get a decisive winner. And there's that early initiation from Kusaba. It's going to hurt him a little bit because the extension and the later initiation, but a valid one by Shinji, allowed him to get out ahead. He's got big angle coming into inside clip. He's going to better it, but look at Kusaba in the chase position. He is going to shut it down after over-angling right near inside clip number 1, and that should solidify it.
What did you think of that transition, Ryan, from Shinji? He got that thing to big angle, and I think Kusaba saw him and went, hey, I can do that. And then he didn't, unfortunately. So let's watch this replay right now. Kusaba doing that super early initiation again, which is doing nothing for him whatsoever in the chase position. I would abandon that practice pretty quickly. Shinji comes up to outside zone 1, hangs on a little bit long, but look at this transition, boom. You haven't seen many people do that in the rain. And then Kusaba tries it in the chase, and it ends up biting him in the behind, and he doesn't get through there. Shinji does follow through all the way to the end of the course and does a great job in the lead. That was a beautiful transition, very aggressive, very quick, and to big angle as well. And it was accurate. It wasn't like he had to, correct it or anything. So I think that was a great job by Shinji. If he keep that up, and now that he's going into the Final Four, it might help him out quite a bit.
All right, so it is unanimous across the board. Shinji Minowa is going to be your victory. He gets a thumbs up there from the track worker. That means Kusaba is going to be knocked out of competition. The Final Four is now completely full, as we've got Matsuyama and Yueo up next. They're already at the line, or Matsuyama is rather, and Yamashita and Minowa. Yamashita and Matsuyama are the two highest qualified drivers in the Final Four bracket. So one of these two drivers, whoever loses between those two drivers will receive third place.
Ryan, I'm excited. Matsuyama and Yueo. There's no way this is going to be bad. My hopes are very high for this one. Yeah, they better do well. They can do well. They are both very capable drivers. Put them together, there should be some sparks and stuff despite the rain.
Well, what we've seen, I think this is a good contrasting battle. We've seen Matsuyama more or less kind of do what we're used to James Dean and Frederick Osbo do back in the States, where they really put a lot of pressure on the chase driver because of the incredible lead. However, Yueo is known to be one of the more aggressive chase drivers, and a good lead may serve him very well. Notice he gets to the angle a little bit later to keep that pressure on. This is what we expected here. Matsuyama into that first outside zone. The transition, beautiful. And he's following the right line. He's going to be just a few feet wide of that inside clip, but Yueo does a great job at the beginning. He's going to angle up and pull through towards the end. So I'm loving it. Yueo very aggressive in the chase. And once again, Matsuyama shows that he's really got those lead runs on lock, other than maybe missing that inside clip by just a couple feet.
Still don't know how Yueo does it. Even in the chase, following, trying to catch up, he's still able to slow down to get into inside clip 1. Look how close he is here at initiation to outside zone 1, mimicking really well. He hangs onto that angle a little bit longer than Matsuyama and isn't as deep in outside zone 1. But right there, able to slow the car down, get to inside clip 1, and then goes to massive angle here before the finish line because he got both tires on the rumble strip. But overall, a great run from both drivers. A couple of little mistakes from both of them, and this is going to be a helpful view here, I think, as well. Look at how close he is there, maintaining that angle and the proximity. This is where he falls off a little bit. You can see he's almost to the white line, so he's got a bit of a tighter line there, but able to get the car right into inside clip 1 and maintain that proximity through to the finish line, where he didn't max out his angle, I would say, and it fell off slightly there just before he got to the finish line. But great job by both. And let's see now how Matsuyama can adapt and go to the chase position with our wild man Yueo here in his crazy-bodied S15.
Well, if you're familiar with the Formula Drift Japan broadcast, you know that we've spent considerable time talking about the progression and improvement that Matsuyama's chase runs have made this year. It's one of the reasons why he has had those nice finishes in the first 2 rounds. However, we know that Kazuhiro Yueo is one of the strongest drivers in the field. So
it's hard to believe that those two cars started off life exactly the same physically.
Yes, I know, in terms of the aesthetics. Well, here we go in the battle. Whipping it early is Yueo. Matsuyama keeping it relatively close. Big angle there from Yueo. Gets right at the edge of that outside zone. Beautifully done. Big angle there, makes an adjustment. He's going to be a bit wide and late on that inside clip, but Matsuyama is keeping it close here. This is fun to watch. Both drivers, big angle through the finish line. And yes,
that right there shows you that Yueo is a little bit scared of Matsuyama. That's the first mistake he's made in the lead, going from outside zone 2 to inside clip 1. Every other time he's being able to slow the car down, get into the inside clip, but you can tell that he's trying to do something more against Matsuyama. He feels like he has to do more, so that's very telling. Let's look at him going to outside zone 1. Yueo definitely going to big angle here, just getting to the edge of that white line, so not quite as deep as Matsuyama there. Crosses the white line there, so that's really well done, but doesn't slow the car down and then gets to a low angle situation where you can see those front wheels coming pretty straight before getting back to angle and then going huge at the finish line. So not the cleanest run we've seen from Yueo. You know, he's been doing pretty well up until now, but it looks like Matsuyama might have got the better of him just by being smoother and being more composed in the chase position, as well as the lead as well. All
right, so a knockout here for Yueo does nothing for him. He would not receive a podium finish. Here we go. Moment of truth. 1, 2, it's going to be enough. Wataru Matsuyama continues his tear. Arguably the most talked about man in the championship this year, and especially this weekend, has now made his way into another finals. So impressive none the least is Matsuyama, who now that will guarantee Yamashita a third place finish, because whether or not, if it will guarantee at least a third place finish for Yamashita now that Matsuyama is in the final matchup. And Yamashita now finishing up here in the burnout box. Yes, I can hear Robbie Nishida in the background saying, oh, it's these two again. Now, what that means for context is last year, many occasions these drivers met, usually later in the rounds, 8 or 4. Sometimes it may have even been a finals in Okiabuki, but they've had history, to say the least.
Yeah, Oogie Boogie, despite being a very tight, small track, has had some pretty dramatic battles happen there, especially with these two guys. So this is a much bigger, much longer, high-speed track. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, Shinji has not really been on his game today. He may have won a couple of battles today due to the mistakes of other drivers more than the greatness of his own driving, let's say. So Yamashita, on the other hand, has been doing really well, driving very consistently. I think Shinji's going to have a very difficult time here if his car's acting the way it's been acting up until now, or his driving is consistent with what he's been doing up until this point. I don't think he'll be able to squeeze by on luck alone in this battle.
Well, Yamashita has been excluded from a win this year so far. Also Minowa, one of those two drivers, could have a chance at it. For Matsuyama, if he gets to win, it'll be his second of the year, and certainly giving him a large advantage over Andrew Gray, who was knocked out in the top 32. So we know the championship points are going to be shaken up quite a bit. The beneficiaries seem to be Matsuyama and Yueo with his Final Four exit. However, these two drivers here have an opportunity to take their first win of the year. That would be 3 events, 3 winners. But we're not there just yet. And Ryan, it looks like as this light goes off, another set of dark clouds have come overhead. See, keep an eye on that.
Height.
Here we go. Water flying off the vehicles. Shinji once again trying to stay close. Getting to angle a little bit late there was Yamashita and also Minowa, so we'll want to take a look at that again. But now as they leave that second outside zone, there's going to be a little bit of separation here as Yamashita slows down towards the end, and that allows Minowa, who was surging, to catch back up. But now let's take a look at the details here, especially that start and the last point of initiation.
I think Shinji played it very well strategically, as opposed to watching somebody like Kusaba initiating early. He's waiting for Yamashita to make the move, and then he just matches him. That allows him to stay close, and look at the angle. He's able to match the line, almost able to match. He was a little bit further inside there on 2. This is the area where Shinji seems to have a problem, getting the car slowed down to that inside clip. But then, because Yamashita drops a tire and it looks like is a little bit scared of maybe over-rotating, Shinji's able to, because he's just on the side of the pavement, able to get on throttle and get closer to him by the finish. So it looked like Yamashita had a couple of angle corrections there coming to outside zone 1. His transition's a little bit slow going to outside zone 2. Shinji slightly on the inside there, but not doing too bad. And through this area, Shinji actually catches up and gets closer to Yamashita, where he's running with lower angle coming to the finish line. So I think if Shinji pulls that kind of transition that he pulled earlier in his battle with Kusaba in the lead position. It might give him that little leg up that he needs to win this battle.
All right, so both drivers back and staged. Our starter waiting for the signal. Readiness of the drivers has been confirmed. Light is on, light is off. Let's do this. Shinji in the lead. Yamashita chasing him down. Here we go. And Shinji's going to get it sideways way early, and that allows Yamashita to do the same. Pushing out wide is Shinji. He's going to get right to the edge, but a little bit late into that zone. Yamashita took that interesting line to make sure that he didn't lose too much ground to Minowa, keeping the pressure on, trying to max the angle out here in comparison.
Looked like Yamashita might have passed him there before the finish line.
All right, let's go back and take a look at this in detail here, and let's see if we can find out who might be moving on into the finals to face Matsuyama.
Looking at the lead goal responsibilities, I think that Shinji did a great job on this run. You can see him getting to angle very early, but car looks settled as he comes up to outside zone 1. Look how settled the car is. He's getting right to that white line, maybe a little bit late on that zone. Great transition again there, way better than what Yamashita did in his lead. Shinji was a little bit off of inside clip 1, but as he comes here to outside zone to the finish line, it looks like Yamashita was actually getting by him before the finish line. He wasn't following on the right line, it looked like. He was further inside. I was hoping for that rear camera view. Robbie, is there any way we can get that rear? Here it is. They listened before I even said it. So let's watch here as Yamashita is chasing through outside zone 1. So he's kind of off on his proximity there. So easy on the line. As he comes through here, matching pretty much what Shinji's doing. And then you can see him getting pretty close on proximity right there, but running a tighter line from the inside clip to the finish line.
All right, so we're starting to see some scores locked in here from some of the judges. And our flagger down there, track staff, here we go. So all the scores are in. One more time from Brian Eggert. A win for Ryan Lantane, and a one more time from Robbie Nishida. So Ryan, you were the outlier there. You thought that Shinji had the edge. The other two go one more time, and we will see them again. So before you come in, let me just make sure I'm not going to get the sign for commercial break. Okay, go.
Okay, go. I just thought that Shinji was a little bit cleaner on his lead, and I thought on the chase position he gave less up in the chase position. You know, I didn't like what Yamashita did there at the finish line, where he was on an inside line, cheating a little bit. Outside zone 1, he did the same thing. I just felt like Shinji pushed a little bit more and was a little bit better off overall.
All right, so we will have to restage these two drivers to find out who's going to be in the finals. It's 6:08 p.m. local time here in Japan. And we can do nothing but wait for this battle. We've got nothing else to do other than the finals, but we need one of these two drivers. So thank you for joining us. Robbie, commercial or?
So somebody in the live stream just said that they prefer wet drifting. They think it looks better artistically. It's a French comment on there. It's interesting to see that somebody actually prefers wet drifting to dry drifting. It is slower. It's a little more of a dance, you know, when you see them, because everything's in slow motion. You can see them kind of shifting the cars around a little bit. When it's dry, it's so fast that it's kind of hard to keep up sometimes with what's going on. But you can kind of see that comment. That's kind of cool.
All right, so that was the longest official score. I have not been given the sign to go into commercial break. It looks like we're going to stick in here and head to the hot pit of these two vehicles. I didn't see where they were situated next to each other, but as we take a look back, Ryan, at the run that got us here, give us one more take at the reason that you went with Minowa.
Yeah, you can see Shinji was closer to him there, matched him better throughout most of the run. He did fall off a little bit here But watch what Yamashita does here. Pulls out a lot of angle, pretty much drives straight in my eyes over the finish line there in the lead position. Shinji, on the other hand, I think did a better job of getting through the course. Whereas if you watch where Yamashita is through this section, especially, he does fall back quite a bit. He's almost nose to tail with Shinji. He doesn't go as wide there. And then Shinji has a great transition right there. He does come off outside zone 2 a little bit, but nice and tight on inside clip 1. And through the finish, I feel like he did a better job of getting where he was supposed to be, staying in angle. And then Yamashita goes low angle and tighter line through the finish line. And it kind of hard to tell from this perspective, but it almost looked like he passed Shinji before the finish line there, which I also didn't like. And I don't know what they're doing over there right now. Oh, cooling it off. Sorry.
Well, we started this battle talking about the history between these two, and another chapter has been written here as we have a one more time in the final 4. A back-and-forth battle, a split decision on the judges' results. Gets us to where we are now. You can see that Yamashita is right there, ready to go, get in the burnout box as soon as Shinji prepares his vehicle. And typically, the amount of time that the competition director will give for these cars is just defined as ample time to fix or change the tires if needed and do things of this nature. I'm not even so sure that they are changing the tires. They're definitely not changing the fronts, but I know that most of the teams have been getting incredible amount of laps in the wet conditions. I don't know.
It just looks like there's not enough water out there, so they need to put a little more.
Yeah. You want to put some more water on there.
Yeah,
more
exactly.
slippery.
We wonder how long that Shinji's going to keep using this chassis. Still in his JZX90, he's tried and true. He has a BMW that he has started building. He had it at Tokyo Auto Salon this year. Big wide body kit on it and all of that stuff. Just hasn't finished building the cage chassis mods, putting an engine in it and all those fun things. One has to assume he's going to put a 2J in it, but I can't guarantee that. So eventually we should see Shinji in a BMW. I believe it's a... I forget what chassis that is. I'd have to ask Robbie. Hang on one second. All right, so Shinji does have an E92 that he did build, and well, just the exterior, put a body kit, big wide body thing on it. But he's also building a JZX 100 as well, so who knows what he's going to end up in next season or later this season, or he's constantly evolving.
Matching cars with the wife.
Yeah, the wife does have a JZX 100, so I mean, he can't be driving around at 90. When she's in 100, they got to be matching at least, to be fair. And here we go with the next part of this battle.
All right, one more time. Let's do it. Let's find a victor here. Yamashita, midline, moving out. And Shinji trying to keep close here. Very similar to run number 1. Shinji goes a little bit long there. He's going to end up coming up way short on that second outside zone. Front end washes out. Yamashita looks like to be in good position. Same thing we saw last time with Shinji surging towards the end. You mentioned maybe the tentative nature of Yamashita towards that last section of the course where it looks like he slows down, but we did see some mistakes, more noticeably from Shinji in the chase position.
Yeah, Shinji did make some mistakes there, evidently at inside clip 1. Outside zone 1, as we see them get to angle at the initiation point, outside zone 1 was pretty clean for Yamashita. He didn't go as wide as I'd like to see him, but it looks like Shinji went too wide. And then right here, Shinji washes out. Definitely a big error from him there. And Yamashita, yet again, going through outside zone number 3, right at the finish line. He pulls angle out, but it looks like he at least made it through with angle, so it's not an incomplete. They're rushing back to the start line now to get the second part of this battle started. Now, Shinji in the lead. He's going to have to hope that Yamashita makes some mistakes in the chase. I don't think a clean lead from Shinji in this is going to really give him an advantage. As long as Yamashita does a good, a decent chase run, he might get away with this one just because of the errors that Shinji did make. Going really long on outside zone 1. He went a little bit too wide there, dropped a tire on the rumble strip, wasn't able to keep up with Yamashita's transition and was not mimicking him very well through there at all. And then washing out at inside clip 1, definitely a big error there as well. So those are a couple of things that Yamashita is going to have to avoid doing in the chase, but Shinji's really going to have to do a great job in the lead here to give himself any kind of hope to do well in this battle.
Shinji Minowa, Koichi Yamashita, second half of the one more time battle. Will we find a victor here? As Minowa gets out right on the rumble strips, Yamashita trying to chase him down. He was on that wider line, leaving the transition. Big angle there, kind of slowing up. The decel zone was back a little bit further. Yamashita was able to make an adjustment, and it does look like the edge may be to Yamashita, but let's go back and take a look at it in a bit more detail.
I don't think Shinji has enough to overcome those errors from his first, from the chase run on the first run of this battle. Shinji did an okay job getting out to outside zone 1, put the tire on the rumble strip, but hung on way too long. That's a big problem with getting on that rumble strip again. You can see him here going way, way, way long. Transitions well, but way late. Over rotates, kind of pulls angle out of the car. A couple of bobbles there. Yamashita is right next to him, grabbing that handbrake to try to stay in proximity, but not too close. And I think that Yamashita is going to get this one fairly easily.
All right, so the loser gets third place because of where they qualified. Yamashita is number 2, Minowa 14. 1 for Yamashita, 2 for Yamashita. That'll confirm it, and all 3 unanimous go to car number 8, Koichi Yamashita. That means that Shinji Minowa still very respectable. He'll receive third place and be the first person to lock in our podium here at Fuji Speedway.
And if you look at the final battle, we have Matsuyama qualified first up against Yamashita qualified second. So despite being in the dark at night on dry surface, both top qualified drivers are now coming into this final battle in the wet together. So the qualifying process does work, even though the conditions are very, very different from one day to the next.
All right, so we all will see Koichi Yamashita head back to the start line. Very excited, giving some revs here to some of the fans locally that have braved some pretty horrendous weather conditions here throughout the weekend. And we are getting the sign to take our final commercial break, absent any one more times. So after the break, we'll come right back as we are here. The G-Shock presents Formula Drift Japan Championship Round 3 at Fuji Speedway. Up next is the finals. And we are back live here at the G-Shock presents Formula Drift Japan Championship at Fuji Speedway. This is round 3. We've seen a shakeup from the 32 on, with Andrew Gray going out early against Kazuya Iizuka. And one of his closest competitors in the points, Wataru Matsuyama, is now in the finals. Matsuyama was second in points coming into the event. He'll leave at the head of the table above Andrew Gray. But before we find out where he solidifies his lead in the championship by how many points, he's got to get through Koichi Yamashita, who just defeated Shinji Minowa in a one more time battle in the Final Four. It's the number 1 and number 2 qualifier at the line in the finals. So here we go.
Can you believe it, Ryan? It's the finals.
I am so excited.
You look it.
It's been a wet and rainy day, a very challenging event.
I'm just happy that we made it to this point because of all the threats of bad, horrible, terrible weather that was going to blow the track off the surface of the earth, and
there
us with
was
it.
that some lightning that we?
I think it was a flash, but I've seen it twice in the last few minutes. Yeah, it's that chick with the camera right over there.
All right, the finals are underway. 1, 2, 3. Send it.
Send it.
Here we go. Matsuyama, Yamashita. Matsuyama gets that early initiation. Yamashita staying with him, keeping the pressure on. Very close through that first outside zone. But once again, Matsuyama, great angle, beautifully done. Look at the smoothness. This is what we've come to expect from him. But Yamashita's keeping the proximity, matching the angle to the finish line. Pulls off just before they make contact. And what a great way to start the finals. An incredible lead and some strong points by Yamashita, who really closed the door there after inside clip number 1.
Man, Matsuyama is really proving to be a rock-solid driver. Leader chase. Look at how settled his car is. Those front wheels are not moving. The car is set at angle, goes right to the rumble strip perfectly. Look at the transition. Very accurate, smooth. Not as quick as Shinji's, but very well done. He's off of inside clip 1 a little bit. In that area right there, Yamashita is cheating line a little bit, but he's using that to his advantage in a big way, getting himself nice and close to Matsuyama. And then there's the Yamashita fan club again. Oh, we've gained an extra banner. So that was a beautiful run by both drivers. I'd say just theoretically here, we can't compare lead to chase really, but it looked to me like Matsuyama did a better job. I felt like Yamashita cheated a little bit in the chase position. So now Yamashita, the bar is set really high, like you were saying earlier. That lead driver, the opportunity from the lead driver there going first, you get to set the bar. You get to say, this is how great you have to do now when you go to the lead position.
Right.
And I think that Yamashita the bar is set very high right now. He needs to be very accurate. His big opportunity is going to be inside clip 1 because Matsuyama was off there, and I think that was really the only place where he made an error. So that is his opportunity. He's got to do just as well or better on the outside zones, but can definitely do better on the inside clip. Matsuyama needs to be close and not cheat in the chase position to win the chase-to-chase comparisons.
Well, whatever way you look at it, it's been a great final so far. Only 50% in the books. Here's the last half here. Yamashita, his opportunity for the lead. Matsuyama, his for the chase. Both drivers out of the gate. Midline for Yamashita. Gets it snapped early. But look at Matsuyama. This is what we've been watching. How will he deal as a chase driver? And a little bit short on that first outside zone as Yamashita leaves the door open. Comes off the second zone a little bit early. Matsuyama does not have the proximity. He doesn't want to fall back too far, but Yamashita maybe does not have as good of a lead run as Matsuyama, but how does it compare in the chase? So both runs in the books now. And Ryan, give us a deeper look here at the replay.
I did not like Yamashita's lead. If you look at where he ends up near outside zone 1, he's not in the zone. He goes wide to that rumble strip, but I believe he was not accurate. I need to watch it again here to be certain, but my first impression was that he was not accurate with that at all. So look how late he is. He doesn't even get to the white line, and he's very, very late. Outside zone 2, he gets to the white line, but leaves it very quickly. Does a good job on inside clip 1, but it looks like in a way he was trying to get away from the chase driver. He's not really fulfilling his lead driver responsibilities. I hope that we get that replay from the backside from camera 1. That would be very helpful. And it doesn't look like we're going to get it, so I will ask for it. I've been told they are working on it, so hopefully this replay comes up with the isolated camera on camera 1 as opposed to switching to camera 2. Really like to see, because that is, it's very telling to see that replay from the back from camera 1, and here it is. So as Yamashita comes around, gets himself initiated, 3, 2, 1. Matsuyama's right there. Matsuyama does have they both have a little bit of a correction there, but it looks like Yamashita did make that error, not really going wide where he's supposed to. Matsuyama in the chase position is following him, chasing him where he's going. So he did show a good level of control as the chase driver, mimicking the lead, but the lead definitely did not do what he was supposed to through that area.
All right, so deliberation from each individual judge in their mind about how they're going to go. I see fingers moving around and some scores starting to come in. At least one judge has submitted. We are holding the drivers off to the side. For those of you familiar with the way these things go, if we do have a winner, we will bring them down to the front of the announcers and spotters grandstand area and announce directly on the track, followed by some on-track interviews with the drivers in Japanese. And we will have hopefully the result here coming in quickly. Oh, and I think we got circumvented. We saw the fingers go up, so they knew before we did. It's a one more time across the board.
I almost went with Matsuyama just because of the lead mistakes from Yamashita, but I think that Matsuyama made a few too many mistakes in the chase despite the errors from Yamashita. It's hard to blame Yamashita for that level of error from the chase because he did end up losing proximity as well. It was a tough one. It was very, very close for me for Matsuyama winning. But I think the fact that he missed inside clip 1, that was something that threw me off as well, whereas Yamashita made it. Yamashita was a little off on outside zone 1, so yeah, we'll have to see them go again. Either way, whoever I chose, it didn't matter because the other two guys went with one more time.
That's correct. You guys were all in agreement there. Now, the tough part is the light is fading. We'll go to the artificial lights, but it's not going to be like how it has been. And the clouds are coming in pretty heavy now. Some dark clouds right above us. As you take a look on your screen in front of you, you should be seeing Koichi Yamashita up there at his truck and in the hot pit area. Getting, looks like he's getting some liquids, and they may not even be changing tires, but we'll also try to get eyes on Matsuyama.
Our friends on the internet are asking us to go a little bit faster. Trey wants to go to bed. What is it, 2:30 in the morning there, Trey? You're up late, but thanks for hanging in there. And I'm seeing people want to see the ads a little bit more. Oddly enough, we hear that from people every single day, especially the models that we have here working at FD Japan. When we talk to them at dinner or during the event, we get a lot of that sound from them. It kind of means no way, but in like a Japanese female kind of way.
Right.
Just to let you know what that is. But yeah, it is a funny commercial. And you will hear it again, I guarantee it.
Well, you can see one of our long view cameras there. You can certainly start to tell the difference between the lighting conditions that are out on the track at the moment. So we implore you, drivers, to give us a clear answer, please. Matsuyama warming him up first. He'll be the lead driver once again in this one more time.
It seems like the driver that makes the least amount of mistakes here is the one that's going to move on. It's going to be the cleaner lead. Matsuyama almost had it. You know, like I said earlier, if he had made that inside clip 1 with everything else that he did, I believe in my mind he could have got the win there.
Or maybe even if he had greater proximity.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because for my money, I thought Yamashita, even though he cut the line a little bit, people really react so strongly to good proximity if you're on a relatively similar line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying other people, that means that's the way that you should go. I want you to be consistent with your criteria, Ryan.
Of course.
But nonetheless, that's, if I was jumping into your head, I would imagine that's part of the thought process.
Tell me more about how I think, Ryan.
I will.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Let's give it another shot. We saw one more time in the Final Four with Yamashita, so he's doing a lot of heavy lifting here this weekend. Matsuyama takes the lead, blasting. He's going to start getting it sideways way before that third standing cone, heading up into that outside zone. Let's see if he does the same thing again. Actually, this time a little bit better. He stays in the zone more perfectly. Beautifully done there, but Yamashita follows him in. Let's watch the proximity. Once again, he misses that inside clip by a couple feet. Yamashita this time is on what seemingly was a better line for a longer period of time. So it looks like both drivers actually did better this second time around. Let's take a look at it again.
And that's exactly what we're looking for them to do here. Matsuyama did a better job. He was off of inside clip 1, but he was a lot closer than he was on the last battle. So that is good to see from him. Gets himself set at angle here again. Rock solid. You can't see any movement in those front wheels. Maybe a slight bobble right there, but gets out to outside zone 1, right on that rumble strip. Not as aggressive of a transition there. It was kind of a almost a two-step, but much closer on inside clip 1, and then gets out to outside zone 3. Yamashita's right there with him. So I think Yamashita did a much better job through this run as well.
So both drivers seem to be on point here, and just a few little minor critiques from Ryan with regards to areas of improvement that spotters could call out to their respective pilots here. We'll shake things up. Now remember, Matsuyama's already has a victory this year at Suzuka Twin, and we also have a victory at Ebisu from Andrew Gray. That means if Yamashita was to pull this out, it'd be 3 different winners, 3 different rounds, and that is a little bit emblematic of how this season has gone so far.
So I asked for the replay from the rear again. I really like what we see from this replay. Looking at Matsuyama, pretty solid there. Yamashita does a good job, not quite as deep in that zone. Very good mimic there from Yamashita. So Yamashita did an excellent job throughout the run there of mimicking what Matsuyama was doing in the lead position. So it's getting where we want to see now, right? Everybody's doing a much better job. They're getting probably more accustomed to each other driving, their speed, their line, how they transition, but definitely not the transition that we've seen from Matsuyama in the past on that run.
Well, this run could be the definitive run in terms of if that first run is even, who does better in the respective criteria for the leader chase in this run. Yamashita out front, Matsuyama. Last time he left him with a little bit of distance. Can he close the door? Yamashita once again a little bit short on that first outside zone. Second outside zone a little bit better, but this time Matsuyama seems to be keeping more relative proximity. He's not door to door, but let's see how both drivers fill this final outside zone. This time Matsuyama does close the door there towards the end. And does that give him an edge? Let's take a look at this run one more time and dissect it to see if we have a winner here at Fuji Speedway.
Yamashita missed some opportunities here in his lead run. When you watched Matsuyama's lead, he got out to outside zone 1 and did a really great job of it. This time, Yamashita does not do that. You can see he's off that white line by quite a bit. Right there, that's at least a foot, whereas Matsuyama was right over it. Right there, he does a pretty good job in the lead. Good job on inside clip 1. Matsuyama matching him and following him where he's going. So lead-to-lead comparison, maybe Matsuyama has the win in that segment. Going to the chase runs, though, I think Yamashita may have had more proximity. I don't know if he was able to match quite the way Matsuyama. I don't know. I don't know. Am I going to get that rear replay again? I love that rear replay. The other 2 guys already have their votes in, but I wanted to see that one replay. If I could see it, that'd be awesome.
All right, well, we are just waiting for one score, and we have a requested replay from the judge just sitting to my left, Ryan Lantain, who's done a tremendous job here in giving us his feedback in real time, as well as doing everything that judging requires. Here's the replay that he requested, going through it and giving it his full attention here. All right, so just saw Ryan put his score in. Oh.
No way. None of your business.
All right. I don't know who has the win here. I've been... Okay. Okay. I'm trying to think of words. I think I know what the score is because I see them all talking now. And let's verify it, but can we get the scores up? All right, so nothing official has been laid down yet, but I just want to know if we have a victor or not. All right. So what I was thinking was that it was actually going to be a split decision, one driver to Yamashita, one judge to Yamashita, one judge to Matsuyama, one more time. That's what I thought was happening, but I've just been told that we actually do have an actual victor there. So we are going to bring the cars down, and we will announce that the driver on course. So
I thought the same thing, Ryan, when they
Okay.
said that. I was like, oh, really? And then they explained the reasoning, and finally I got that it's 2-1. So that's the kind of split decision that I'm all right with.
I'm glad one of those two had the cojones to not go one more time, because then we would have had a split decision.
Yep.
Obviously, I want you guys to put in what your heart says, but it is getting into the darkness here.
Yep. The darkness.
All right, let's do this. Let's get those guys down. Let's get ourselves a winner here. A lot of people wanting to go to bed. And thank you all for watching. It's been a real joy watching the comments and all of the support. And I know that all the drivers here really do appreciate it. Every time we send a stream out, not only in Japanese but also in English to various platforms, it's always very well received. And it's quite interesting because most of the times we're in the wee hours of the morning at many different places in the world. So we appreciate all of the support. And we are just now waiting for the track staff to move the vehicles into the front of the grandstand area, where we will crown our first and second place winner. Let's recall that Shinji Minowa, who's in the lead, is the third place finisher. It looks like he'll be leading the procession out onto the track. And let's go, folks.
Hurry up and wait. Ryan, don't rush them, okay? They're doing things at their speed. We're getting people onto the track, into position to take the photos, the models in their umbrellas and such. Yeah.
Come on.
I agree, though. They should get these cars out here.
We have other track staff watching this that are saying, I can do it faster.
Yeah.
I can do it faster than you guys.
What do you mean, somebody on the internet? These poor drivers are going to have to stand out in the rain. It's an awful thing when you win. You got to stand out there in the rain to accept your winnings. Well, Ryan, I'm happy this event made it through to completion. It was not 100% certain that we'd be able to do this today.
Wait, before you go on, let me ask you a question real quick.
What's your
question? Do you know who the winner is?
Yes, I do know.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell
so
you?
try not to say anything that's leading towards that, but just give me your feelings overall on the competition this weekend.
Well, we had a couple of interesting scenarios, let's say. Last night in the dark, the lighting was not ideal. We didn't expect to end up that late in the day. We had the lights set up, but they weren't aimed at the proper points of the track, let's say, so it was pretty dark. I saw some in-car camera footage. It's amazing to me what the drivers were able to do in those conditions. So that was phenomenal. I think we challenged the drivers in a great way. I think that they really stepped up their driving capabilities and all of that. And I think they did an awesome job in qualifying. Now, coming to today, the conditions that we had today were less than ideal. We had a lot of rain, a lot of wind, and less than ideal track conditions, less than ideal visibility for us, for the drivers as well. So I think these drivers really stepped up and showed their capabilities in various challenging conditions. The championship points getting so mixed up, I think, is going to be awesome to see. So we know who the drivers are near the end of all this, right? We had Matsuyama, Yueo, Yamashita, and Minowa. A couple of these drivers have been on the podium. Actually, a few of them have been on the podium. All four of them have been on the podium this season already, haven't they? So in various levels, right? But we have had a couple of drivers that were near the top get knocked out, such as Andrew Gray, Nian. Who else was near the top here?
Well, the unique thing about what we see in the first 3 rounds is if somehow Yamashita pulls this off, not somehow, but if he pulls it off, it would make 3 winners in 3 rounds, and it would certainly make the championship chase even more interesting because of the point differential between first and second place.
Who won last round, Ryan?
Andrew Gray. So you'd have Matsuyama round 1, Suzuka round 2, Andrew Gray, round 3, driver X.
Okay.
And driver X could either be Matsuyama or Yamashita. So
either way, it's going to be 3 different winners.
yep. Well, not either way, but if Matsuyama.
Oh yeah, right. Matsuyama already won.
If Matsuyama wins, he'll have 2 wins to
Right,
Andrew
right,
Gray's
right.
1. All right, so I've been asking about why we haven't been going it. I think because of the rain, they've been having a hard time getting cameras down on the track where they want to go. But it looks like the hand signal's starting to come together here. Come on, everybody's just waiting for the winner, guys.
So as you pointed out in the past, Ryan, sometimes here at Formula Drift Japan, there's a communication barrier that's in place. You know, we do have a translator in Robbie Nishida, but sometimes it's a little difficult to get thoughts across. And the other situation is that we are not always in control of everything that's going on the track with the Japanese track staff. So
I put more emphasis on the second than the first.
yeah, but they go hand in hand, Ryan.
They
Come
do.
on. Trying to take a little bit of the
What is
blame away.
all this A stuff? Is this supposed to? Is this a? Well, it was one of the commercials have an A in there or something.
It's the tire commercial where the girl does the braking. She goes, eh?
Oh, see,
You
I
know
I
how-
thought it was. See, there's that, but I thought it was. Ooh,
Well,
that's another one that we get too.
Well, he does that, but she
Okay.
does that. Eh? And like I was saying earlier, we hear the models say that because those are generally the only females we hang around here at FD Japan. They often say that when Robbie tells them crazy stories about his life and adventure throughout the world of drifting. They get a lot of amazement and excitement from that, so they end up giving us the A's. At first, when I saw the comments online, I thought they were referring to me as a Canadian saying A.
yeah.
But I haven't been saying it, so I was a little confused, and then I remembered the commercial, and it all came together for me. I always try to practice my non-regional diction, Ryan. You know, really don't want to have the Canadian inflection in there at all.
Well, you've done a great job, kind of ironing that out of yourself. You know, you've got
No do to boot it.
you've got the French connection, you've got the Japanese connection, and now you've got a little Portuguese in you. So
Yeah, try to get the Portuguese is really hard. All right, so we have the cars down near the area where we will be announcing the winner. That's a great thing. Here's one of our models with the umbrella.
And
over there for, oh, she just walked right by Matsuyama.
just like you're getting wet, bro.
Yeah, I'm just going to hold the umbrella for myself.
All right, so what we do here is we wait for the signal, and the live commentators will go through 3, 2, 1. So let's turn it over to them.
So we're going to do third place. Shinji Minowa in his wife's racing suit. So nice of her to lend him her racing suit for this event.
He looks not too stoked.
No. He looks like, okay, I'm here, but I'm not going to smile about it.
There
we
he
go.
goes.
I'm going to force a little movement in my mouth here to make it look like a smile.
We know it's always a tough battle with Yamashita, so that was
Yeah.
a big rivalry.
You can understand the disappointment there. All right, so first place announcement is going to be made right now. Drum roll, please. Yamashita.
Koichi Yamashita gets the win here. He looks a little bit befuddled.
Me? It's probably because the speakers don't reach down onto the track, so he probably barely heard his voice or his name, and he's trying to figure out, me? Was it me? Do I cheer?
All right, now Ryan, walk us through how each judge voted after we hear the second place winner of Matsuyama, who, in my mind, just as easily could have deserved the win there. But tell us who voted what and why.
So I voted for Matsuyama. I thought he was smoother and did a better job on the lead run, despite missing a couple of things. And the other judges believe that Yamashita did a better lead and was more within more proximity throughout the course. So they gave the win to Yamashita. So I'm going to go to Robbie Nishida now for a translation.
なんかこの並び順で負けたかなって正直思いました。
I
い
thought
つも真ん中
the way
が
they
優
place
勝な
the
んで、ちょ
car,
っとあれ
the
って
car that goes in
思
the
っちゃっ
middle
て、
usually wins, so I thought I didn't get it, so I was a little confused.
前回の恵比寿で
The last time at Ebisu,
大事な
the
車を
last round,
本
I
当大事な車を壊してし
this
ま
is
っ
a
て、
very important car to me,
チーム
and I
に
wrecked it,
ものすごく大迷惑をかけました。
and I
で、流れ
brought
が悪くなっ
a
てし
lot
まっ
of
て、
badness to the team because I did
結果に
get
全然
into
つながらなく、
a wreck.
この富士は
And now, since we're at this
もう
Fuji
本
round,
当 勝ちに行きたいと、
We were really,
Team
really
に
going for the win.
なんとかこの優勝っていうのを持って帰りたくて、
And I really, really wanted to bring this win to the team, for the team.
頑張りました。
And I tried really hard.
で、本当こんな俺を、この車に乗せていただいて、ものすごくいい状態で乗せて
And
もら
to
って
let
ます。
me drive this car
本当
in
チ
this
ームの
condition,
みんなには感謝してい
in
ま
this
す。
very good condition, I am very, very thankful to the team.
で、本当チーム関係者、
And all the guys, my
そしてこ
team,
んな遅くまで、そして
and
こ
everybody
の雨
staying
の
here
中、
this late
ものすごく応
in
援
the
してい
rain
ただいて、
and cheering
バナー
on
を持
for
っていただ
me.
いたり、皆さんの応援がものすごく
And the cheering really,
励みになり
really
ました。
gave
こ
me
の勝ちが本当につながりました。
gave me something
そ
to
して
work.
めちゃめちゃ嬉しいです。本当皆さん
Work to
ありがとうございまし
getting
た。
the
こんな遅くまで。
I really, really want to thank everybody for just
やったよ
staying here this late. I did it. I did it.
お疲れ様でした。ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you, Robbie. I think we're going to keep you on. We'll have some words here from Matsuyama as well.
I just didn't want to do a robotic.
No, that was
translation,
awesome.
so
That
I'll
was
try- I'll
awesome.
try
I'm
to-
glad you put some emphasis
皆さ
on
ん
the.
最後まで
All
見
right,
てい
here
た
you
だいて
go.
ありがとうございました。
Everybody, thanks for
と
staying so
昨日
late all the way
は
to the
感想
end.
1位取れたんですけど、
I got first place
自
in
分は
the
追走が苦手な
qualifier
感じじゃな
run.
くて、
I'm
雨も
not-
とっても苦手で、多分見てもらって
I'm
た
not
ら分かる
really
と思うんですけ
a
ど、
chase
先
car
行なんか
for a
も
while, and I'm
最
not
初
really
か
good
ら
in the rain
ベス
as
ト
well.
32からずっとみんなに入られっぱなしで、やられっぱなしだったんで、ここまで来るのも全部対戦全部ギリギリでやってきたんで。
So
こ
everything
こ
was
ま
a
でレッ
close
ドで
call
ここま
all
で
the
来
way
れた
till
のが
now,
自分でも信じられないです。
and I can't believe that I come this far.
まあでもチャンプには勝ちたかったです。
But I
やっぱ
really, really wanted to be
連
champ
勝したかったです。
Yamashita. I wanted to get
で
like
も
two
今の自
wins
分
in
が
a
できるこ
row
と全部
or
できた
a
ん
win
で
in a row.
すがすがしくて
But
よか
it
ったで
felt
す。あり
really
がとうございま
good.
した
Felt really, really good driving here today, so I accomplished something. Thank you very much.
Oh, man, you got to love that. Great attitudes across the boards from all drivers. And after you sit back and look at the event, let's go to Shinji Minowa.
He's like, everybody tells me that when you look back, there's Minowa, because I kind of creep up, and yes, I made it all the way to the third place. And you know, Champ and Matsuyama beat him in the rounds. So hopefully next round I could be I look back and I'm the winner, Shinji Minowa. So everybody thanks for staying out here so long, and thank you very much.
So a lot of gratitude, but also some great competitive words there from those drivers about how they felt and compiled their weekend run to where they found themselves at first, second, and third place for Yamashita, Matsuyama, and Shinji Minowa. And in the closing moments here, Ryan, I just have to say that it's been a really fun ride here. Typically, we have these events on Saturdays and Sundays, but Friday and Saturday, different time frames, squeezing in the top 16 just 15 minutes after the top 32 to get better weather, which this was better weather relative to how it is going to potentially be by the time we get to 7 o'clock, which is just about 8 minutes away. So if the prediction comes through as it is supposed to, or as least that is predicted, we'll be really happy that we actually finished this event, because there was a lot of talk that it was not going to happen. And seeing those smiling faces and all the drivers really happy with their performance has certainly been worth it for me.
You are right, Ryan. Happy to get this one in the books. It was a good, great event at a big, crazy track. This is one of the biggest, best, I guess, most professional tracks we run at, so pretty awesome.
All right, well, thank you guys for all joining us here. Everybody at Formula Drift Japan and us from the States, Ryan Lantain, myself, Robbie Nishida, Brian Eggert, we are signing off here live from Fuji Speedway. The next 2 rounds, we have Okiabuki in just about a month, and then we finish up this season at Okayama. Right now, it's an incredible chase for the championship. As we take a look at your winner one more time, Koichi Yamashita, an awesome performance here at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship, Round 3 at Fuji Speedway. We'll see you next time.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる、止まる、止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば
横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。
The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
クオリティオブジャパニーズクラフトマンシップ。グリッド。
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Ospo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Kenda。
伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮、チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC。
モティ。
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.